All right. Hello, everybody.
Hey.
I believe we actually have some people already in here, so welcome.
Woo!
Welcome to our next episode of Science Happy Hour. Today, we're going to be talking about some blush-worthy topics, I think. And I promise it won't actually.
It depends on who you are.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe for the uninitiated.
Yeah.
I think we're all very clinical about sex at this point.
It's very true, yeah. We're all biologists and scientists of various kinds anyway. So for those of you who haven't been here yet, we are here to have an entertaining discussion about science today. We'll be having some adult beverages and just kind of getting a little silly. And
cheers.
Yeah, adult beverages and adult conversation. Cheers to that.
I don't know how to cheers your
Come
little...
by.
I know, yeah. So that's the concept of the show. We'll be kind of getting a little silly while we talk about science. I'm going to be your sort of host for the evening. My name is Kate. I'm an evolutionary anthropologist, so I know a little something about some of the bones we'll be talking about. No pun intended.
A little something, something.
Yeah, right.
So that's my take on this today. And then with that, I'll let these other two wonderful drunk scientists introduce themselves.
Drunkest.
Yes, definitely drunkest.
So why don't you go first before you forget what your name is?
All right. So I am Eric.
Hi, Eric.
I'm an evolutionary anthropologist.
A different one, though.
Yeah.
Many different things you can study within
Yes.
the umbrella.
There's so much
true.
stuff.
I think it's safe to say the booze has kicked in.
Yes. So, I study norms and norm enforcement and humans, and basically how the impulse to police other people's behavior has evolved, and then how and why that varies across cultures.
I didn't actually know that's what you were studying.
Yeah.
That's really fun, man. I like that. I mean, I assumed you were doing cool shit. But
Yeah,
I didn't
of course.
I didn't know the actual topic about your study.
Yeah.
I just found this out a couple weeks
During
ago.
the
too.
AAPA.
Yeah, I didn't know what it was either.
Yeah.
So cool.
We're all cool people doing cool things.
Yeah.
Doing cool science, man.
Yeah.
I'm Ruth. You may have remembered me from the evolution episode or the CRISPR episode. I promise I will not always be on. But we're talking about mating and courtship
We
today.
love you.
Thank you.
We do. Yeah.
And I'm an evolutionary psychologist. And for those of you that don't know, talking about mating is our jam. There is nothing that evolutionary psychologists like more
It's so true.
than figuring out who's having sex with whom.
Yep.
It's like high school all over again. We're just so into it.
Yep.
So,
People graduated from high school and they're like, oh, now I'm gonna have to get a real job. And then they went to college and took an EvSci class and they were like, fuck, I can do this forever and get paid.
Exactly.
Fuck.
I ask people who they're having sex with, and then I study that. That's my job.
So the social risk-taking thing you do is really about sexual behavior.
Everything is about sexual behavior.
All human
attractiveness
behavior,
levels.
but all human behavior is evolved. Why can't EvPsych people study other things? Everything is evolutionary in some way.
That's not necessarily true. We discovered this on our
Yeah.
evolution episode.
But the point is, I don't know. There's just a lot of things people do.
It's
It's just funny that everything that's not quite sex got relegated to evolutionary anthropologists, and evolutionary psychologists are just happy to be like sex.
It's kind of true. Hey man, I like it. I love my job.
Do you?
So that's us.
Yeah. So we're going to move into our first segment here. So, I did want to make a comment, though, that we have this lovely background. Oh, my God. Oh, shit.
You told me about this beforehand, so I had to do something with it.
So we have this background. It's
mixed feelings.
That was a little...
It's her fault she picked the background.
Yeah.
It's a great picture, though.
So it's a 19th century French print by a guy named Fragonard.
Good job with that pronunciation.
Very Frenchy.
Okay, I guess. We're getting some info that our audio is a little. Hang on one second.
That's too bad.
I
feel like
fix it.
this is an extra good introduction.
Well, Kate is fixing the audio. We can tell you what we're drinking.
Yeah, tell us what we're drinking.
Which they can't hear because the audio is not working. Or is it?
I don't
Oh,
know.
I don't know what's
I'm
going
gonna
on.
fix it right now.
I want to hold off.
Okay, so it should be good now, I think. So yes,
Can you hear me now?
can you hear us and see us speak at
Hello.
the same time? I don't know why I did like a weird
Hello.
voice there.
All right.
Okay, so I'm drinking Happy Camper IPA also.
As
so,
am I. Yeah, it's
boring,
a tasty.
but it's delicious.
Well, it's from Santa Fe Brewing Company,
Yes.
so in the great state of New Mexico. I've had it so much at this point, it's become pretty normal for me. But it's like
know.
it's a good IPA.
It's a good
You want an IPA? This is what you want.
It's a go-to.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a good go-to.
I'm
beer.
drinking everything Kate owns.
Yes, that is exactly what happened.
That was like not even an exaggeration.
So it's a button on the right side of the thing. It says A, E, and AF and stuff on it. It's a little round little button, and I didn't push it.
Oh no.
And you have to push it till the little green button or green thing pops up on the screen. We're having some technical difficulties. Just push it, yeah. It should show up. There's a little green thing. Cool. Thank you. Awesome.
Thanks, Grady.
Yes, you have to be here to throw things. Oh!
Just eating it. Just eating
You're
it.
just eating it.
There we
There. What? Just Ruth?
Okay,
That was not even close.
I can do
to
it.
my mouth.
I can do it.
Oop, I just like.
No,
Open my mouth
no,
enough.
no.
I know. Terrible.
We need to let the dogs in here afterwards
I know.
to clean up.
Yeah. So anyway, this is a painting called The Swing by Fragonard.
Look at how scandalous it
apparently-
is.
I know it. So Eric is covering part of it.
Yeah,
but-
I'm the creep. I'm where the creepy
in
guy
this
is.
actual image,
So I had to play my part.
There's this woman on a swing, and there's a little dude down in the corner. You can't really see him at all. You'd have to get up and move the chair, which you do not have to do.
We're too late now. You can see
You can
him.
kind of see his body, sort of, but his head is still cut off. But
Creepy.
anyway, so he's literally down there looking up the woman's skirt in the actual image. So Eric is playing that role here, but apparently, our buddy Classy Bathrobe, hello, welcome back.
What's up, classy bathrobe?
Is saying
He's our
that
best friend.
it was used
Okay.
as part of the inspiration for the Rapunzel movie, potentially.
No shit.
So
I love that. Wait, the Disney Rapunzel movie?
I'm guessing the original Rapunzel.
Like
Oh.
a fairy tale.
Yeah.
I love the Disney one. I don't
But
know what the
yeah.
original one is.
7 a.m. the
Tangled,
usual
right?
morning line.
Yeah, Tangled.
Yeah.
Tangled.
Yeah, that.
I could
I
sing
love-
I could
I
sing like
fucking
all the songs.
Love Tangled.
It's a great
Musical
movie.
It
theater
really
here.
is. I think it's one of their best, honestly.
It's pretty great.
Anyway, so this is one of our racy prints from the 19th century in France that we'll have behind us tonight. Anyway, okay, so sorry about the technical difficulties here.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, we're good now. We should be all good. So we're gonna move into our first segment. So this is our opener for the show every time, and that is hypothesis testing. So this is a segment where we are going to pass around a mystery liquid in this Erlenmeyer flask. I believe it has a little bit of bubbling going on in here. And we're gonna smell it, observe it, taste it, or make a hypothesis, and then we're testing it by tasting it. And then we're going to figure out if our hypothesis can be nullified or not. So I'm gonna start off. So it looks like we have 173 milliliths of
Are we going to
sort
drink
of
all of
liquid.
this? I'm drunk
No.
enough as it is.
Yeah, this is just a sip, I mean, it's whatever you want. Apparently my mic is not on. It's definitely on. So
So
I
sad.
don't know, but I don't know if they can't hear me or not, but
Can you hear us?
yeah, I don't know what is happening. We're just like a shit show tonight.
Yeah.
But it should
God
be
damn
on.
it. The first time I come on. I should have known.
Maybe you're cursed.
Maybe
Maybe Eric is bad luck.
I don't know.
It's because I touched that fictional painted lady's dress.
Yeah.
This is my karma.
Yes,
I think so.
definitely. I agree with this statement. Okay. Anyway, all right. So I'm gonna observe. We have maybe like 173 milliliters of some sort of light liquid. It oddly looks a lot like pee again.
You
It's
tend
because
to
you-
pick a lot of like
apparently
pee appearance.
A lot of boozy things tend to look like pee.
of varying degrees of
It's because you
renal
mixed
failure,
another
yeah.
brown liquid
It's
in.
true.
So
So, but anyway, so okay.
very
so
watered down
it's a
pee, I'd
little-
have to
yeah,
say.
it's water. This person is very well
Yeah.
hydrated.
Absolutely.
Yeah, too well hydrated, if
Yeah.
anything.
So it smells.
You can be too well hydrated.
Yeah, but that's like that threshold, man. That's
If
way
your
up
pee's
there.
looking like that, I don't know.
How about now? I can maybe. I don't know. I don't know if it's working or not.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Just keep talking.
Yeah, I'm just gonna like. Anyway,
Hello.
okay, so so it's kind of yellow. It smells kind of citrusy. I'm cheating because I already know what it is, but it smells kind of citrusy.
Not fair.
And I'm gonna say that maybe it is liquid sunshine from over a grapefruit orchard. That's what that is.
Wow.
Wait, wouldn't
That's
you
very
know
elaborate.
what it is?
Yeah, that's what she just said. She,
Wait,
I'm
I'm
pretending
drunk
to
and
be-
not paying attention. Go easy on me.
It's actually pretty tasty. Yeah.
I'm like this even when I'm sober. So.
It's actually pretty tasty, but I'm not going to say what my conclusions are until you guys
all right.
make a sip, and then I'm going to fuss with my mic.
Huh. Oh. Yep. It is Cinco de Mayo.
Yep.
So it's
It
tequila.
It sure as hell smells a lot like tequila.
Yep. Can I taste it?
Yeah.
Yep. I vote tequila.
Yeah. It's definitely tequila.
See, if you had gone with something else today, you would have thrown us off the trail.
Yeah, it's true.
I honestly didn't even think about it in terms of Cinco de Mayo until afterwards. I was like, oh.
You could have, if you would like mix another like alcohol with what's it called, agave, you could have totally confused us.
That tastes like watered down tequila, though.
It is. So
Okay.
it is actually watered down.
She wanted to hide the
tequila.
color, I think.
No.
Probably.
No,
or-
I just mixed in some stuff. So this is actually tequila with 2 different flavors of La Croix,
Huh.
grapefruit and lime,
Huh.
and then a little splash of Saint Germain elderflower liqueur.
It's actually pretty tasty.
It's tasty. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I really don't hate it.
I think if I was sitting outside, it's really hot here today in Albuquerque. And it's like 85 degrees. If I was
really
sitting outside in the sun, that would be a delightful drink today.
Although, I like that it's dry in Albuquerque. That's why I enjoyed
true.
moving here. 'Cause
Yeah.
even when it's hot, it's not
It's not
unbearable.
humid at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm from New York, and it sucks during high summer.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I believe it.
yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, our hypotheses.
So, yeah.
I mean, mine was that it was tequila, and I was
Yep.
like sort of right.
Yeah.
Tequila based with other things mixed in. So
Yeah. It's actually pretty good.
And
I
then
didn't
watering
even
it down
taste
makes
it.
it light, so it's
Yeah, it's
kind
not
of
like
effervescent on
it's
the-
not as like
La
stringent
Croix.
as tequila
yes.
straight. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Well, all right. I think we're ready for our next segment, which is this cool thing now exists.
Awesome.
So yeah,
So this cool thing.
yeah. What is our cool thing?
Our cool thing is a ostensibly reversible male birth control
Yeah.
procedure. So obviously up until now, birth control has kind of been female domain. Men have the options of condom or vasectomies, neither of which are terribly appealing. And so there's this new technology that's still in its testing phases where the researchers, they first tested on rabbits and then on macaques recently. Macaques, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Rhesus macaques. And I have a picture of those.
They injected this polymer gel into the vas deferens, and so it is permeable to water. Water can still get through, but semen can get through, but sperm cannot, or
Yes.
however that
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
And so it blocks the sperm. The rhesus macaque trial they just did had 100% efficacy. So they
Yeah.
tested on a handful of mates or a handful of males in a
Right.
multi-male, multi-female enclosure. throughout a breeding season, and several of these several of these males had offspring before.
I thought I was the drunk one.
Yeah, I just can't talk. Just can't talk. Mates, males, it was all the same. So it wasn't an issue with the males, but it just like 100% effective at blocking insemination.
Over the whole course of that mating season, too.
Which is crazy.
And they're gonna try reversing it now, I think.
Yes,
Yep.
I believe so.
When they started with rabbits, they published a paper that was like, yeah, look how it worked in rabbits, and then they published a second paper, and it was like, now we flushed it out. The second paper with rabbits, I read all of these because I was really interested in it. Was kind of interesting though because they wanted to see like how reversible it was, so they tested a handful of characteristics of male sperm. So just count, and then forward progression and general motility, I think. And count and motility weren't affected, but forward progression was really highly effective. Like the sperm weren't going forward.
I see.
So
I think it like zaps them or something. It has like an ionizing effect. So I've actually heard of this before because like years ago, they first developed this and tested it in India. And so
that was a slightly different drug. But
was it?
But
Okay.
the India trial has been going on, for over 15 years now. They haven't actually tried to reverse.
It's also 100% effective as far as I know. So.
I don't know the effect, but it's super fucking high. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so they haven't tried to reverse it on anybody. Right now in India, they're going for men who like never want children again.
It's a similar kind of process where they inject a gel into the vas deferens, which is the tube that connects the testicle to, your urethra.
Yes.
But in this case, it actually like zaps the sperm and basically makes them sort of dead or immobile.
And then your body just reabsorbs them.
Yeah. And this one seems to block them or something
Well,
like
so
that.
it blocks them from going through, and then when they can't continue on your vas deferens, then
They get reabsorbed.
They get reabsorbed.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So not what Hosebeats just said, where the sperm pressure building up causing the testicles to explode.
Yeah, I know, which is every
not
man's
a thing that
instinctual
would
fear, but that's
Yeah.
not realistic.
Which I understand that you didn't actually mean it. Kappa. I got you.
But it's super fucking cool. I'm really excited to see how it works with the rhesus monkeys and their fertility afterwards.
Sure.
Because one of the great things about this is that it is ostensibly reversible, right? So vasectomies are also reversible, but up to like 50% of men actually never regain their fertility after.
You're trying to reattach the tube.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
it's a lot more invasive.
This is I think of this as kind of like the IUD for men.
Yeah, in a
In a
way.
certain way, yeah.
It's physiologically different, but it's certainly in
I'm not surprised about that part, but
I mean, like,
I don't
it's
imagine
not
sticking
even
an IUD
about,
in
like,
for
a
men
blocking
is-
hormone or
Yeah.
simulating a hormone, like that's
yeah.
what
That's
But
the
what I
other
mean is
great
like
fucking
minimally invasive. You do it once and then it doesn't.
And then
you
you
don't have to
forget
think about
about
it
it.
again,
Yeah,
and then
set
it's
it and you
easy
forget
to
about it.
reverse.
It's true. It's very true.
So.
Definitely.
Yeah, so the other great thing about this is that it's non-hormonal. Some people might have heard that they were testing a male birth control pill that was pretty much exactly the same as the female one that worked off hormones, and all the men in the, maybe not all, the men in the trials kept dropping out because it made them depressed, and all of us over here on the female pill were like,
welcome to our lives.
we've been fucking telling you forever. But since this procedure is not hormonal, it shouldn't have the same side effects, which is fucking amazing.
Great.
Yes.
I cannot wait for this to come
So,
out.
and another thing is the, in the articles that talked about this, they also talked about another birth control method, which they developed in like Sweden or somewhere. It's basically like a thing that gets put around your vas deferens and has a switch, and you can like reach inside and flip the switch, and it squeezes it and turns it off, and then you switch it again and it releases.
Yes.
Nuh-uh.
You can turn it on and off. I don't
So
know
you can
that,
shut off your sperm production whenever
I
you
don't
want.
think you personally can do
No,
it.
there's a switch. They actually say you reach in, you feel the switch.
The switch thing.
No, it's
but,
an
like,
actual physical switch.
Holy shit, this is blowing my mind right now.
Which is why it's honestly sort of embarrassing that male birth control has come so long after female birth control, because just in terms of how physiologically simple male reproductive systems are compared to female, it's so much easier to intervene in men's reproduction.
Yes.
But for some reason, it's only now that we're getting all of these birth control methods.
For some reason, it's
It's
because the world was made for white men, so obviously they shouldn't take on the burden of not having children, even though now we know that they do a thing too. But,
I know, when people were thinking, how do we intervene in reproduction, they immediately thought of like, how do we stop pregnancy, not how do we stop sperm production.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for real.
Exactly. But anyway, so this is really fucking cool. The company is hoping to start human trials in 2018, provided the rhesus reversal goes well. So.
Right.
Anyway, this cool thing now
It's
exists,
really cool.
or is on the precipice of existing.
Yeah. So I want to know from the male on our panel here tonight. Would
The
you
one-
use this?
What?
Would you use this?
100%.
Yeah.
So
Because I
I actually-
anticipate that a lot of people would be resistant to it for
So,
various reasons.
I am way more resistant to getting a vasectomy for the reasons mentioned than this.
Right.
The fact that this is so minimally invasive,
Yeah.
you don't have to think about it, and it's so easily reversible,
Right.
and it has no hormonal effects, makes it extremely appealing.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because there's basically no cost. You don't even have to undergo general anesthesia. You can go undergo local anesthesia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And have it done in like a minute, and then you never have to think about it again. You recover in like a couple days or something.
Yeah.
Right.
And then you never have to worry about it again.
Set
and
it,
whenever
forget
you
it.
want to switch, boom, same procedure.
Yeah.
So there's
wonder
no
if-
downside.
Well, yeah, and it, like as a man, it gives you a lot more control over
Yeah.
your reproductive history, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
So for women, I mean, the downside of birth control is that we have to deal with it, but the upside is that we get so much control over our
Yes.
reproductive lives, and men just kind of have to trust us
Yeah.
that we're
Totally.
doing the things.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And so now it's gonna like offer you
Yeah.
be like, I do
Yes.
not want kids, and I will not have them.
Right.
No, like
Yeah.
crazy bitches doing, you know,
Can happen.
I mean, you still have to worry about like
STIs.
yeah, STIs.
Right,
but
right.
That's
Yeah,
a separate
not a barrier method, but yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although people, I remember when I saw the original article on like the Indian method like years ago, which is basically procedurally the same. It has slightly different physiological mechanisms, but it's basically the same procedure in terms of what they actually do.
Yep.
And women were talking about how like, or maybe it was with the male birth control pill, but basically like, I wouldn't stop using my own birth control because now I have to rely on him like remembering to take it and all this
Yeah,
stuff, even
yeah.
though I'm the one who has to get pregnant.
Right.
So it's probably going to be everyone using birth control.
But you know what? Like, that's,
Yeah.
that's great. Yeah.
Because especially with like more effective and safer like IUDs now, and like there is a hormonal element, but it's more localized versus having to like
Yeah,
get
it
some
is a lot
huge level
better.
into your blood via
Right.
ingestion or something.
Yeah, it still kind of makes you go crazy, though.
Yeah.
It still can
I thought-
have problems.
Tell
but
you
it's-
this. I
it's
tell you this
less
from
likely.
experience.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah.
I've wondered about this because I always thought like if I was a woman, I would get the IUD because it feels like the easier and better
IUD
method.
versus the pill?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so they're both, well, I shouldn't say it. There's one IUD that's copper.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that is not a hormonal method of contraception. But most IUDs on the market are hormonal, so they're still gonna fuck with
Yeah,
you.
but so I thought part of the way that works is because it's releasing the hormones locally, you don't have to release as much in order to actually intervene in
So
reproduction.
I think that's
It's a tiny dose
true.
released constantly over
Yeah.
X period of time, and that's why the IUDs have an expiration date, essentially.
So,
Yeah.
so I guess I'm wondering, like, if you like drew blood from a woman who was on the IUD versus on the pill, would you get a lower level?
what would the hormone concentration
Yeah.
Right, I don't know the answer to
I
that.
actually don't know either.
Because I suspect it would be lower for the IUD, but
And
I
I've
don't
been
know.
on both, and I actually don't.
You don't,
I don't
detect a
know.
difference?
I don't know. It's hard for me. I don't know. Maybe this is TMI. I've been on hormonal birth control for over a decade now, so
Me too.
I don't
So.
even know what my body is like without it. So, I think like my general depression levels went down going to the IUD from the pill.
Okay.
Which
But,
makes me think there is a change.
well, but
yeah.
that also could be a lot of placebo effect. Let's be honest.
It does,
Yeah.
I mean, it affects everyone totally differently. Like with
Yeah.
the IUDs, you can not have a menstrual cycle at all, or you could have it be totally the same. That was not my experience.
By the way, better for you in the long run because menstruation
Right.
actually leads to like
Cell
replication
proliferation. Yeah, right.
of your cells in your breast, which leads to breast cancer.
Right.
So women in
Yeah.
in like Western societies who have tons of cycles but have like 2 kids or none have
really
more
high
breast
incidence of
cancer
breast cancer.
than
Yep.
women in traditional societies who
Totally.
are pregnant or lactating a lot of the time.
Absolutely.
So that's actually
Yeah.
one of the things, like taking birth, they're always like, oh, you have to make sure to stop taking birth control because of the, like you have to menstruate or something. And then
No,
I don't know
there's, like-
if there's actually any evidence behind that. And if you can stop menstruating without any consequences, it's actually better for you in the long run.
Yeah.
It kind of is, but a lot of women are afraid of that. I've talked to a lot of
'Cause
people
it's
who think it's
unnatural.
weird, it's unnatural, but like there's no biological reason to have a period. It's not like you're shedding toxins or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that.
If anything,
It's
you're
like,
losing
you know,
iron and stuff.
Right, yeah,
totally, right.
Get anemic
Yeah,
around their
And then you get
periods.
cramps and yeah.
So I
Cramps didn't
want
go
to
away
call
with
attention to
Oh,
the to the chat real quick. So
Oh,
we've got some fun stuff happening going on.
I'd imagine there's been
So,
tons of stuff and we
yeah.
haven't looked at any of it. I have no idea what people are saying.
So we've got some comments about becoming a cyborg and how cool that is, and I want to. I'll give you my TMI. So I had a terrible experience with the IUD.
Oh.
It was like it was really bad, and just basically my uterus did not want a thing in it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're just
So-
putting a foreign object.
Right. Totally.
Yeah,
I've
there is
been
a small
there, it's
percentage where it
all
has
been there.
complications.
So-
Yeah.
but that's true of other birth control methods. so.
Sure. Yeah.
But so I ended up getting rid of that, and I got the arm implant.
Nice.
So
Oh,
I now
okay.
I am actually a cyborg. That's why I
Can
felt like
can
it
they
was-
RFID you?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. But like I have a little thing in my arm now that is like it makes me feel like a cyborg. It's kind of fun. So that's I mean maybe it's TMI, but whatever.
You are intervening
I'm
in your
actually a
body's
cyborg.
biology via like
Yeah,
implants.
totally. Yeah.
And like if you get like the switch thing, you totally have like.
I have it. Okay. Do you guys want to see chat too?
What?
It doesn't
Sure.
really matter. I trust Kate to call attention to things that need
I'm
to
kind of
be-
interested in whatever
Yeah,
like ridiculous
take a
things
look,
people are
yeah.
saying. It's not
Here.
logged in though.
Here
Yeah.
we have it. I'll do it.
Clap on, clap
This is
off.
very disruptive. I'm just saying.
Sorry, we're just so interested
sure-
in our
Yeah.
audience members. We want to know what you're
I
saying.
know.
I'm sure like half of you are like, ha, drunk guy.
No,
I'm
that
gonna-
definitely
I'm part of
happens.
that half.
That definitely happens. But so we had some clap on, clap off things with the switch. That's super fun.
Oh, it would be awesome to be able to clap on, clap
No,
off your
that
balls.
I know.
You go to a show and you're like, yeah! And your switch is like, that would be awful.
It's like, where did it land? This could be a fun night. What's happening?
Yeah, that doesn't.
Well, no, that's what.
Yeah.
It's like before sex, she has to clap.
No, but what if you were turned off, but you thought you were on, and then you clap, and now
I would
you're-
assume you can feel the difference.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't. I don't know if you actually have nerves down there to feel that, but there's got to be some way to tell. I don't know.
Yeah.
Fuck if I know.
I don't know. I mean, that's why I think like the switch, like you can actually.
I guess you got to
feel
do it twice. Once
right?
clap on, once clap off. Make sure you have it.
Yeah, but then if you're just applauding, like, what does it do?
Yeah, like you can end up totally screwing.
You just have like a
yourself.
random reproductive state.
Well,
Maybe you can reproduce tonight. Maybe you can't.
And it's not just your clapping; it's everybody around you
Yeah.
clapping. So you could like never go out into public again. That.
So then we had from FT Chaos. Hey, what's up? I
up?
can't wait to see the graphics for the on-off switch. Basically, it's just like the Ghostbuster symbol, but over a baby. So and then we have classy bathrobe. Today on Jerry Springer, my wife switched my flip to 4 baby without me knowing. Oh my god!
That's totally gonna happen.
totally gonna
you know it. She's gonna like
Yeah.
Yeah.
like switch it right when it's
Yeah.
about to happen. She's gonna be like, no.
It's totally gonna happen. Ooh, a whistle. That's a good idea. Yeah, you're probably around less whistling on a daily basis.
But then when you applaud, there's just whistling coming from your crotch.
I'm still gonna go.
Oh wait,
no,
you mean you whistle? I was thinking it whistle.
Okay, we're kind of staying within the realm of possibility.
Oh my god. Okay.
Whistling penis.
So
Blow it. Sorry.
And so like you're at a play, this is like standing ovation. There's just this whistling noise
Yeah.
emanating from you.
This has deteriorated rapidly.
Look at the subject matter for our episode.
You know, but this is what I study. I don't think it's funny anymore. I'm like the
Yeah.
vas deferens. You're spilling. You're
yeah, don't spill on my computer.
I'm trying to
yo.
get the.
Yeah, but anyway. So then Bobo Digest.
But
is
Bobo
asking-
Digest.
Bobo to chest. What are you
so
digesting?
We mentioned that there's not necessarily like a biological reason for having a period, but then they're mentioning that it is you're losing the egg after
Yeah.
ovulation and you're shedding the uterine lining.
Right.
But so it's not so the egg is going to ovulate if it's going to. You don't always do it every month. it's going to happen regardless of whether or not you have a period. And you may not ovulate and you still have a period. And it's really just like your uterine lining is building up every month. And if you don't get pregnant, you don't need it. Because that uterine lining is just like a comfy nest for a fertilized zygote.
And actually, not all animals, not even all primates, have periods.
Right.
So we learned this in Melissa's class.
Cool.
Remember?
No.
Okay. So
We were in a class together, but apparently I don't know.
remember the hormones. Hormones of behavior.
Yeah, no, I remember the class you're talking about.
So basically, the more expensive the babies get in your utero, the more the mother has to do to supply nutrients for them, to the point where in humans, where it gets really, really extreme, the mother and the fetus's kind of circulatory systems almost become unified. And so the kind of uterine wall that develops is both a method for enabling that, but also kind of a method for like making sure you don't get like a bad baby to implant, like one who isn't going to survive or isn't going to do well.
Something with like chromosomal abnormalities or something
so
like that.
the probability of implantation is actually kind of difficult with the uterine wall, but then once it implants, it allows for the development of like the circulatory system to connect. So, and then the shedding basically is like if you don't produce the proper hormones by this age, because babies fetuses produce hormones that affect the mother.
I know, it's like fucking alien.
Yeah, like,
is.
or
It
you
really
can think it
is.
is collaboration.
But it's not collaborative.
It's not.
Well,
to a
it's
certain extent.
parasites.
Yeah.
But no, but they are. It's like they're.
It's like the microbiome, sometimes helpful, sometimes hurtful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like there are well-documented of fetus and mother like having
Conflict.
Yeah,
Totally.
exactly.
And sometimes there are byproducts like what is it, like prenatal? It's like when the mother gets like diabetes or something when she's pregnant. I don't remember.
I don't know.
It's not like there's no evolutionary reason for it from what I've heard from people. But anyway, but the point is, so getting rid of the uterine wall basically means like if you haven't developed to a certain point by like this date, I don't want you.
It's gotta go.
Yeah.
I mean, it's costly.
It's gotta go.
Yeah.
I mean, you're maintaining it. It's costly.
Yeah.
So like you just shed it and get a new one.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine if
Cheaper
you just
to throw it away and buy a new one every time.
I know, right?
Yep.
Imagine if we had the same one forever, and it was just like chilling in there, festering over time.
Chilling in there.
Like, it sounds gross.
I'm just imagining like a cartoon of like a uterus with like a face.
Yeah.
Just like.
My uterus is happy. Yeah.
Anyway, let's reel it back in.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, birth control is
yes.
a big deal. Let men take control
it
of
is
their
a big
lives.
deal, yeah.
Let's women not have to be fucking crazy for a little while. It's cool. Wait for this technology to come out. I'm really
I
excited
think it's
about
gonna
this.
be really cool.
Yeah.
It's nice to have the burden fall, equally on both sexes.
Yes.
That's nice. Although.
Or give men power anyway to control.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. And
their own
although I do
reproduction.
want to point out, just before we switch to the next subject, is that like oftentimes people just talk about the birth control side of birth control, but in a lot of ways for a lot of women it's period control.
Yes, also that.
And so it's like, even though like the burden of birth control might switch over to men, it's not going to totally negate the use of contraceptives for women, because there's all sorts of other potentially beneficial side effects.
Which this gets at the whole issue of like healthcare and birth control, which was like, for example, the woman
Don't cover your mouth when you talk.
Yeah.
The microphone's down here. They can hear me.
But like you're gonna be like no.
Yeah.
Fine.
I'm just trying to help you, man.
We're
Whatever.
just
Cool. Everything's the woman I dated before I entered grad school, she used birth control, at least in part, to help like hormonal control, which improved like her skin and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
It's a really big use.
there are medical uses for birth control
Definitely,
beyond just
absolutely. Yep.
controlling pregnancy.
You can have ovarian cysts that are oftentimes controlled by birth control. You can have just generally painful periods, like the normal things that happen. You have things like endometriosis, which is like this crazy condition where your uterine lining that we were just talking about actually grows outside of your uterus. And it will attach to other stuff in your abdomen. So like it can attach to your bladder, your intestines, whatever, and wherever it is, it basically just causes pain.
It's like cancerous, infectious uterine lining.
It's so awful. This is what Lena Dunham has. She's
I
like
didn't know
actually
that.
really
Okay.
vocal about the fact that she has endometriosis and is like trying to advocate for people because it's estimated, I want to say that the last statistic I saw that like almost a quarter of women have it to some
Shut up.
extent, but it's mostly
Wow.
undiagnosed. And don't quote me on that. I'm not sure if that statistic is totally correct, but it's something
I won't quote you. It's just a recording
really
will be
high.
online
I
forever.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're having so it is the most horrible thing. I totally agree. It's really, really scary and it's very, very painful. So there's a whole host of different things that
Sure.
can actually be helped by being on birth control.
Right.
So not just about contraception.
Yeah.
So okay.
Cool.
So with
Woo!
that,
Woo!
let's move on to our next segment here, and that is discovery.
What?
All right. So, what is a new discovery that we have sort of found? And I'm gonna kind of ask you about your opinion on this when we get to it. What's new in the world of mating and reproduction?
Yeah, okay. Since Eric didn't read it, and I'm
Well, no, this. I totally
Yes,
read
you
this.
totally read
prepared
this,
today.
yeah.
Okay.
I totally read this. Back-
Hi, Kangaroo Beats. Welcome.
What's up, Kangaroo?
the
Beat?
next one is the one I didn't read.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so the discovery thing, we're talking about the baculum.
The baculum.
The baculum!
And I just want to take a poll. Does anybody watching actually know what a baculum is?
I did not before this week.
Yeah.
It's
so
the penis bone.
Shut up, Eric!
Well, now the poll is going to be biased.
Oh wait.
Thanks, Eric.
Sorry.
You know how the polls work?
I didn't think that far ahead.
So before Eric just spoiled it for you, did you know what a baculum was? How about
Can
that?
I just say white man syndrome? Just like, let's say the thing that's in my head. Like, just spit it out. Just spit it out.
No, I'm just especially blabby.
You are especially about
That's,
that.
Yes.
that's definitely true. We
Yeah.
have a well done, sir, from FTK.
Well, so, okay, the baculum is the penis bone.
It is the penis bone. And we have a picture
That's cool.
of one.
So
And
humans,
this is actually from a dog.
so fucking weird
It's a
looking.
dog penis bone.
Humans obviously don't have a penis bone, even though our slang might indicate that we do.
Right.
But I think most other primates.
All other primates, a lot of mammals have them, like dogs and other carnivores and stuff all have them. So the one that's up above us right now is actually from a dog. The little arrow on there is for the urethral sulcus, I believe. It's kind of crazy, but I just thought I'd point it out because there's an arrow and
Yeah.
I didn't put it there, but
Wait, what?
But
it's the urethral sulcus or whatever. It's actually where the urethra
Like-
ends, I think, when it becomes erect. The
So
rectum
does it like
stick,
go
so
under
to
the
speak.
bone or through the bone? I never quite got that.
I'm honestly not really sure, like, where it is. It's like,
So I
You're a
was under the
human.
impression that the baculum was in the urethral tract.
yeah, it's like it's.
I thought it went through the soft tissue above it
Maybe.
Maybe
that
that's
to like
true.
support it or something.
Yeah.
I don't actually know, but I do
But
know.
Yes.
We
that-
have the internet.
Yeah, we can look that up. No, but so since so many other mammals have them, just phylogenetically thinking about like what makes the most sense, it is
Apparently, it looks like it runs on
Yeah.
the underside of the bone. It says FTK.
Oh, okay.
That's what I thought. So
Thank you for
Yes.
looking that up.
Thank
like in human penises, there's like spongy tissue on top, and then the urethra runs underneath. So
I really enjoy this.
it's
And then
spongy.
it's
I have to
spongy, and then-
demonstrate this.
Other animals, it's the bone and then the urethra. Okay.
Yeah.
So the idea is because everybody else has them, that
Right.
humans
Why?
lost them.
Yeah, and why don't we have them? Or why did we lose them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're thinking maybe we lost them because of pair bonding, right? So these bones are really useful in multi-male, multi-female groups when paternity can't be guaranteed. So one of the best ways to make sure that a female has your baby is to keep her from mating with somebody else. And if you just keep having sex with her for longer, that's one of the best ways you can do that, because then she just does not have time to go have sex with somebody else. And so the baculum helps the males in that group stay erect for longer.
Yep.
It also, in some species, actually like protrudes and touches the cervix. Yeah, I read
Weird.
this. I know, and so then that I think is supposed to like facilitate sperm transmission.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know. I would
Interesting.
assume also in chimpanzees. So chimpanzees have this weird thing where they have like, so human men.
Sperm plug?
Yes, human
Yeah.
men ejaculate about 3+ times, and there's actually different content. Like the ejaculate is different in each one
Wait, 3+ times per sexual encounter?
per ejaculation. So there's like,
Oh,
okay.
there's like 3 pulses.
yeah.
Just keep doing that.
The gestures are just
I-
on point.
Yeah.
tonight.
I'm also like this sober, so this is just
No,
me
it's great.
exaggerated.
Fantastic.
But the point is that in chimpanzees, I think they have even more than that, and there's chemical differences in their ejaculate spasms, so that like it produces this like congealed sperm plug that prevents
Yeah.
other males' sperm from like inseminating
It's
the female.
Oddly, a lot like vasal gel.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like now that I think of it, it's actually fairly similar to vasal gel because
like,
it's basically a plug.
That keeps sperm
It's
from
not
going
made
through.
of sperm. I
Yeah.
mean, like in the chimps, it's actually made of the ejaculate.
Yeah.
But it's obviously vasal
And in
gel.
us,
It's
we're
not,
injecting
but,
it
like,
inside
it is
ourselves.
still like preventing sperm
Yeah.
from going through it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it really is actually pretty similar.
Yeah.
I literally did not think of that until just now.
But the reason I brought it up is because one of the things I know with like chimp like penis structure is that they'll actually like try to dislodge, or it will sometimes dislodge.
sperm
Yes,
plugs?
yeah, the sperm plug.
Well, so that's one of the reasons-
I am an educator by nature. I want to make everything clear.
I mean, but that's one of the hypotheses for why the penis in humans is shaped the way it is with like the head.
Well, we have, like, a
'Cause then you
default
can, like,
primate-
scoop everything else out.
But the thing is, we actually have a pretty default primate penis structure. So like
Sure.
gorillas and a lot of other
Right.
primates, which don't have a lot of like sperm competition, other things, have our penis structure. It's just sort of like does the job, I guess. Yeah.
good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nothing fancy.
Well, so I'm interested. Again, the idea that humans don't have one is we're thinking it's because humans tend to pair bond. So just stick with one mate over a longer term. Now in modern society, we've taken it way too far and be like, you can never bond with anybody else ever. But maybe
And even though in reality people bond with tons of
Yeah,
people,
right.
it's kind of gone in the opposite.
Serial monogamy.
yeah,
Even more than that,
or
but
less, yeah, right.
hookup
So
culture,
Human
all
males
that.
have a lot more assurance that they are the sire of their mate's offspring than most other species, and so the idea is that the baculum isn't as necessary because there's more paternity assurance. My
And
issue,
just generally less competition.
correct?
Theoretically.
Yes.
Yeah.
My issue with this is I think that's reasonable, but I also think we need to be thinking about the topic we talked about last week on our evolution show, where we always want to give an evolutionary reason for something,
Totally.
and this could be just one of those things like the dude who was doing the best happened to not have a baculum, like
Yep,
had a
like a
weird
random
But-
mutation or whatever.
Things like that, though. So, like, it's usually not like someone doesn't have a baculum, but someone has a reduced baculum.
Right,
and
right.
so
Sorry,
this is
sorry.
one of the this is
I
one of the
was
things with
simplifying,
with
Yes.
drift. But like, if it's continuous change over
Mm-hmm.
a long period of time, you have pretty good evidence that like there's some selection there. Versus if it's a single gene that can turn it off.
No, but
maybe that's-
so my thing is like, was there actually selective pressure on the baculum, or was
It's
there
probably a lack of pressure.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Although-
what I mean. Or
and when
was
you're
there
in
like
an-
selective pressure on something else, and then the dude who had the best whatever
Mm.
else happened to have a smaller or reduced baculum,
Well,
and then
the thing is with bones, like in a subsistence ecology, like where you are sort of hand to mouth, bone's expensive. It's a lot of calcium.
Yeah.
So,
Sure. Yep.
so like for
Right.
example,
And
human
it's always remodeling too. So
human
it's
mouths have
a lot of
continued to get
maintenance.
smaller and smaller, even though it's fucking up all our teeth. So we have like
Right.
wisdom teeth and stuff
So
like
that's
that.
a good example, actually.
That is, yeah.
Because so we are now starting to lose our wisdom teeth.
as in people never get there.
I
with-
know people who
am
were born
one of
without
those.
them.
Yeah.
I have never had them at all.
I'm so
a total
jealous.
mutant. All 4 of them didn't exist. And so like a lot of the conversation about the fact that we are starting to do this is that along our lineage we had selective pressure to keep various teeth in our mouths because it made it easier for us to process certain types of foods that were harder to process.
Potatoes.
Potatoes. I mean, now that we're eating cooked food,
It's a lot
heavily
easier.
processed food, we
Yeah.
don't need that anymore. So that selective pressure basically just gets relieved because you have something else going on.
And this contributes
so
to us
this
getting
is a good
cavities
example of
too.
that. Yeah,
Because our
totally.
teeth have gotten softer and smaller. And,
Right. Yeah.
But so like for example with the baculum, even if it was just like there's no use for it or the use isn't useful enough, that can be enough to lead to it being reduced because the bone's more
Sure.
useful in other places.
Sure, totally. Totally.
but
No,
yeah,
I think it's a great
Yeah, we've got
candidate.
some. We have,
So someone
we have
asked
some good
what would
stuff.
happen if we had them. So mostly it would just make it easier to stay erect, and we probably wouldn't have oh, now I'm so drunk I can't even remember the term. What is it when you can't get it off?
High five for the women answering that question.
I knew it before.
No, we just got you drunk.
Yeah, I got me drunk.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
did.
For the fans.
I mean, you might also be able to last a little bit longer, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
So actually, a really good example of this whole like length of copulation thing is orangutans who can have sex for up to an hour.
which is
Oh wow.
Crazy long.
exhausting.
Yeah, right.
Practically
Especially for the
tantric.
male. Jesus.
yeah, I guess it
It's-
depends on who's doing all the fucking work.
Oh my god, I have the most amazing pun in the whole world right now. It's orangutantric.
Shut up.
No.
I don't know, it kind of snort for me. I thought it was funny.
I think it's pretty funny. But
I
I do
have
also,
heard more puns per minute
Yes.
since I came to grad school than I ever have in my entire life.
We're a punny crowd. It's totally true.
Yeah. Like, if you didn't want that, you should have gone somewhere else.
Like, I was in New York thinking everything was about irony, and then I come out here and everything's about puns. It's really thrown me off.
You gotta say a really bad pun and then make the face like,
Yeah. Waiting for the response. Yeah. You got me, right?
That's
Yeah.
our jam down here.
Yeah,
If you ever come
totally.
visit us,
Yep.
go for the lowest common denominator
It's
pun.
totally
and
true.
Everybody will laugh.
It'll probably work.
Yeah, exactly.
It's totally true.
Who's booing?
Boo, PPM. Oh,
What?
so sad.
Why are you
Boo
booing?
you.
Booing my pun. That's probably booing my pun.
Oh.
No, don't
What?
boo. Let's not boo. We have
We have to be supportive of each other,
Yes,
even
we are very
even with the
thankful for
really
our
lowbrow
viewers.
comedy.
Yeah, I know, right? It was very shameless. I apologize.
Whatever, in
To be
Shakespeare's
perfectly
day,
honest.
puns were like high quality humor, so I'm just being like fucking Shakespeare.
His puns were super dirty too.
Yeah. Maybe that's the only
So
way
we
he
are
can say dirty shit.
we are in the vein of Shakespeare tonight.
Yeah, it's true.
You wouldn't
all
think
I'm
that.
saying.
I will compare us to Shakespeare talking about penis bones. I will.
Do you think Shakespeare had a penis bone?
Sure, why not?
Maybe he did.
Puns
But
per
I
minute.
do want to. Who said this? Oh, so FTKS said I've had like 15 messages flagged due to content. Bear with the moderation, the auto moderation. This topic is innately going to be a little racy
Yeah, and
for
we're talking
for,
about sex
for
and
Twitch.
You should see an Ev Psych class.
No, but for real.
I know. That joke was serious. Like,
We talk about sex a lot
It's
in my
true.
discipline.
Yeah.
We're really
Can I have a
interested in it.
refill?
Yeah, you want to know
Yeah.
why can no one do it?
I can't do it.
The dogs are better than the
That was
humans.
way over her
Yeah.
head. There is no way that was
Yeah.
happening. Nice.
Oh, that was close. That
Bounce
was
off your
rob.
tongue.
That was robbery. Oh. Oh no.
Oh, come on. I don't even get a chance.
Whatever.
You're up
I
right
can't
now.
do it.
turn.
I can't do it.
Catch it with your baculum. Nice.
You have to catch it with your tongue.
Oh, so close.
I can't do it.
Your
I'm
tongue,
not good.
your tongue sticks to it because of the moisture.
I
It's
can't.
true.
I have
Anyway.
many talents, but that is not one of them.
All right.
Cool. So anyway, we talked about
So
the
that's the
baculum.
baculum. But wait. I forgot. I have a funny baculum story. Wait for it.
Okay.
Is it
It's not something
actually
many
funny,
people
or
can
is
say.
it like Sarah's aunt story?
I think it's more depressing, honestly.
Oh, okay.
So-
Let's introduce that to this show.
In the bone lab at my master's program in Pennsylvania, we had a giant collection of different skeletons most of it was human for studying purposes, and then we also had some zoological stuff, so non-human, faunal is another term for it. And we had this whale baculum in our collection.
Damn.
It was like this big.
Oh, I thought it
that
would have been
big.
bigger.
It was like 2 feet
That's
long.
like a dolphin baculum almost.
I mean, I don't know what kind of whale it was, so I can't really.
Because I would think a whale vacuum would be like the size of this room.
Well, it depends on the whale, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like some whales aren't that
Yeah.
huge, so. But it was
Okay.
it was big, and it's mostly depressing because it was broken. Like this whale had his penis broken.
That's one of the disadvantages
so
of having a
sad.
baculum,
I know.
people.
It's a disadvantage of having
But
a
you can
baculum.
still break your penis without one. Sort
Yeah,
of.
but it's well, you really more tear it.
Yeah, you're like
And-
injuring it, but you're not really breaking it. But yeah, so
And
so
imagine
this
you
was
have
broken.
a vacuum, and it heals wrong.
It did. That's So it was like this big, and in the middle of it. So instead of it being like this, it was like boop, and there was this bridge of bone that had been.
Oh
formed.
God, the females must have been so
Right?
uncomfortable.
Oh my God.
Must have been like, what is wrong with this?
Yeah, it was awful. Like, I mean, how would a whale ever be able to like correctly set a broken baculum?
Oh God.
Oh. Like so I'd assume that in most natural cases.
My
of a
teacher is
broken-
not impressed.
Moving on.
You're watching with your
Bareface
teacher?
Man. My teacher? What is this? Well, hello, Bareface Man. Who are you? But we're happy you're here. I hope you're here to learn about some science and be silly with us.
Grab a beer. It's the cool thing to do.
But
Your teacher should be impressed.
Yeah. Who is your teacher?
And why aren't they more excited about sex?
Yes.
Yeah. But anyway, so it was really, really sad for this whale because it had broken and not healed properly,
That is really sad.
and it looked really uncomfortable. So it's not really that funny. It's mostly depressing.
That's a sad story.
It is a sad story.
All right.
So
Well, so humans don't have one. Other animals do.
Yeah.
Probably evolved around 90 to 150 million years ago, roughly. And then we lost it.
oh, this is getting weird. Anyway,
And now we have erectile dysfunction.
yay.
All right.
Okay.
Did we do
So-
justice to the baculum?
I think so.
I
think so.
just do want to say that the plural of baculum is bacula, and then I just
Totally.
think Dracula,
I know every time.
and then I just channel the Count from Sesame Street. I'm like, and I can't stop. So the whole time I was reading this article, I was laughing like that in my head.
Nice.
Anyway,
All right. So let's move on to our next segment for the evening, which is alternative science. So
Is that like alternative facts?
it is a little bit like alternative facts. So this is
It's like
my-
science, but not actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. So their science was
There is
okay.
science in there. And so this is a loose interpretation of the term alternative science. I'm not trying to say that they're not doing science, of course. So this segment is really, it is a play on the thing that we have heard a lot recently about alternative facts, mostly. But the purpose of this segment is to take a piece of science that has come out and be a little bit more critical about what it's doing. So we like to keep, a general positivity about what we're talking about on the show. And this is a segment that allows us to kind of get a little bit dirtier, so to speak.
Compared to now?
I know, right? Like, not dirty in that way.
But
I have been holding back a little bit, but not that much.
No, we can drop some shade
Yeah.
now. That's what this segment is
yeah,
for.
we're dropping some shade. That's
I'm New
exactly
Yorker. My
our-
normal language
yeah.
would just be like 50% cursing, if I
Oh,
could.
You can curse. You can curse all you want.
Fuck yeah.
We have it so that it shows up for mature audiences only. So
Well, we're mature, I think.
sometimes.
I don't know.
Yeah, not with all these puns.
I know.
I pretend to adult really hard. Yeah, I don't know if I'm successful, but
So in any case, so this segment is an opportunity for us to kind of take a little bit more of a critical look at something that's just come out. And for this week, we're going to be talking about a new paper that just came out, and it was actually, I'm not even sure it was fully released yet. What I had seen was
it's published online with
Yeah,
the
it's just
Journal
online.
of Evolution and Human Behavior.
Yeah.
So it will be published in one of their later episodes, one of their later issues.
It's a TV
because
show.
all science should be in television.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All science must be in
And
TV
one of
format.
the future issues, this paper will be published, but right now it's only available online
Yeah.
at the journal's website.
So, but yeah, so I'm gonna. I think I
Where do you
believe
put the
I have a
links?
link.
Okay.
In here. Let's see.
I assume after like the episode or on the main page, there's a link or something in the description.
I did not put a link to this one in the bot, only because what I had gotten it from was the author's ResearchGate page, and I felt a little weird about taking their profile and sending it.
Oh, and being, just disseminate that.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
Sure. If you go to the site for the
you
Journal
can
of
find
Human
this.
Behavior,
You can find
the
the
Human of
abstract.
Evolution and Journal Behavior. That's the journal is going to be published in. So you can find the abstract. I believe you can actually read the whole paper online. EHB is usually open, but I don't.
Okay. Cool.
I don't know. I'm also a member, so I always get it for free.
I
So I
see.
don't know if it's like
Gotcha.
just me or everybody.
Oh, damn it. I got it.
I almost got it in my beer.
I'm so bad.
No, that shot.
Oh, close.
Hang on.
I can't do this. I have
Yeah.
I have so many talents.
Not this one.
Not one of
Not
them.
this one, yeah.
You're just getting robbed.
I fall for that.
You are just getting robbed. So
Okay,
anyway,
so-
so all right, so this article kind of caused a lot of outrage this past week because of the title that was given to it, and it's actually really funny
Yeah.
because it was titled something that I'll read in a second, and then after this outrage, they immediately changed the title, which I just find so funny.
Yeah.
It was necessary, but like it's kind of
Yeah, they should have thought a little bit about
I know,
the title
right?
beforehand.
Like, come on.
They were going for like the. I think we're all good.
We
Grady
have
just
some
refilled
fresh
this.
beers.
You good?
You have.
If you want to bring me different kinds, that's
Eric,
fine. But
No,
have a
he's
full
also
glass.
drunk.
What is
he
this?
does not need
It's
any more.
liquid for
You
you.
poured it.
Yeah, like
oh wait,
that's you. That's your.
well, that because you like it just appeared and you handed it to me, and I was like, oh, did you put
I
something
need
in
something,
this?
so I'm like, you have this right here.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, all right. So the original title of this article, and I quote, was "Sexy women can tempt men down the road of immorality: exposure to sexy stimuli leads to increased dishonesty in men." So very sensational title. You can imagine a lot of people being like, "This is a little bit." I'm not even really sure what the right word is for what this is.
Oh wait, maybe you have to say it again. It seems like some people didn't see it, like there was a glitch or something.
Oh no! Okay, so
So
LOL, never mind. Did you get it? Anyone? Yeah?
Why don't Ruth, you say it?
sexy women can tempt men down the road of immorality. Exposure to sexy stimuli leads to increased dishonesty in men. That was the original title. To be fair to researchers, publishing these days is a little bit cutthroat, and so like the more you can do to kind of like sex up your title, to get get the reads, to get the citations is usually a good thing. But this one took it a little too far, and then people were upset. about
Maybe
it.
it's because English wasn't their first language. You can give them the benefit of the
It
doubt.
is
There was that
possible.
one evolutionary paper on hands where they like talked about like God and stuff, and like it got really weird.
I don't remember
and
that.
apparently it was because English wasn't their first language. I don't know.
I did not know that. But so the people who put out this paper are from China. So it's possible if I'm not actually sure if it was written in Chinese originally and then translated, or
don't
if
know.
it was just an ESL situation. But anyway, so people were pretty outraged about this, and I have some evidence of this.
Are you going to show the tweets?
I have some tweets.
Awesome.
I have a tweet, and then I have a Facebook post. So this tweet is coming from Ellie Knott. Sexy men can tempt women down the road of immorality. An article that would never been written. It's clickbait title as much as content. And that's kind of true, and we'll talk about why.
Which kind of does make me wonder if in the future, like all academic articles will be kind of like clickbaity.
I think they're going that way.
I mean, I think that if
We always complain to Journal Club about stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
all of this nature articles are like, oh, just clickbait, basically.
Right. I mean, I think that if our scientific publication system is not going to be open source, is going to be heavily influential in terms of what grant funding you get, all of those things, then the clickbait works. Like, that's why clickbait exists.
Right.
It works because it grabs people's attention.
Yeah.
And if that means that you're going to get more notoriety and therefore you're going to have better grant funding coming in, and your university is only going to promote you if you get millions of dollars worth of grant funding, and regardless of what the quality of your research is, like that, those are all things that will be perpetuated by the current system.
Yeah.
Christopher
that's really,
Ryan.
I know, right?
What?
Sex at Dawn. You know Sex at Dawn?
Well, I've heard of it, but I've never actually read it.
It's really bad.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
So not a recommendation we want.
So anyway, the authors changed the title of this article to "Self-Control, Generosity, and Honesty Depend on Exposure to Pictures of the Opposite Sex in Men, but Not in Women," which is also an incorrect title because they did not test this in women. The article, so I read it. I actually found their science fairly solid. They did 3 different tests of kind of the same test in 3 different like replications, and it came out significant every time. So they primed men with either pictures of highly attractive or unattractive women. And what they found was...
how did they determine attractive and unattractive?
Another sample of people like rated the pictures.
Okay.
To say like...
of similar ethnic background, I'd assume.
Yeah, exactly. And so they found that the men who were primed with the really attractive women, they tended to cheat more on this test they were given. They were left in a room by themselves and said, complete this test, and the number of correct answers you get, that's how much money you
This
take.
is totally in your wheelhouse.
It's totally in my wheelhouse, yeah. And they just left like an envelope full of money, and they're like, you get $10 for every correct thing you did. And what they found was that everybody cheated a little bit. Like, the average was to say you did one more thing correct than you actually did. But for men who were primed with the attractive pictures, they claimed like 4 more correct things. So they took more money than the men who were primed with the unattractive pictures. And they replicated this in a couple different ways. And I actually find the replication like kind of compelling. They did it all in the same paper.
Replication's always nice because we don't see enough of that in social science.
Absolutely.
True. It's very true.
Absolutely.
Even in biology,
My
you should see it more.
issue with this paper is that then the conclusions they drew were not what they were testing.
Awkward.
Funny comment from FT Chaos. Well, we need the money for dates, obs.
Right? Right, yeah. I mean, like, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why men who are primed with attractive women were going to cheat.
They're like, oh, I got to go find a date tonight.
Right.
And I need money.
Exactly. So now I'm going to take all, I don't know, maybe.
1 to 1. You can see the link right there.
So what they were testing was men who were primed with attractive women versus unattractive women. But the conclusions they drew were to say that sexy women may attract dishonest men, which is not the thing that they tested.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
Okay, and also weirdly judgy.
Yes.
Yes. Totally.
So if they would have stuck with the conclusion that, like, you know, when mating goals are made salient, particularly with highly attractive women, that men are dishonest for XYZ theoretical reasons, like, I could have bought that. Like, their science was solid, even though their argument for why they did the science was kind of
Just shows data transcends interpretation.
but yeah, then the conclusions they drew were not the things they were testing. If they wanted to test whether sexy women were attracting dishonest men, they should have kind of flipped the study around. And tested women. And they also, in the title, in their original title, they said that women who were primed with they implied that women who were primed with attractive men did not have the same issue, that they weren't more dishonest than women applied with unattractive men. They did not study that. They studied women's self-control after priming, but not their honesty, dishonesty. So in their first study, the paper has 4 different studies. In their first study, they included women, but wasn't dishonesty, honesty, it was self-control. And then they excluded women from there on when they were actually studying dishonesty. So the women were never tested on whether they were more dishonest or less dishonest after being primed.
It's almost like the paper they were commenting on and the paper they actually did were completely separate.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly. And so I'm actually wondering how much, like when they got this backlash, if they just changed the title but then didn't change any of their like paper, right? Like if they were actually trying to write a paper on whether sexy women were attracting dishonest men, but then got a bunch of backlash.
But the paper content didn't change, so either way, it wasn't about that.
Well, right. So yeah, their study didn't change. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So they didn't have any of the evidence to support either title or either interpretation.
Not
I
really.
mean,
so.
the second title is certainly closer to what they did.
Yes.
But still not actually correct. Because they didn't actually prove or not prove that it wasn't happening in women because they're not testing the
They
same
didn't
thing.
test it in women at all. I'm also just curious. In EvPsych, we do tend to dichotomize like people into attractive or unattractive, and then prime people, right? So we have other participants come into the lab, rate a bunch of pictures, and then we take like the 3 most attractive pictures and the 3 least attractive pictures and kind of dichotomize, and that's how we prime. But obviously, attractiveness is along a continuum.
Right, sure.
And so
And there's
it's
some
very
individual,
subjective, too.
there's some
Right.
individual heterogeneity in what you like judge as attractive.
Right.
And so I mean, they're kind of operating within the paradigm of how EvPsych tends to work, but
Sure.
I just have issues with that paradigm in general. Again, because
That's
we're
also psychology generally, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Well, I mean, one of the things about psychology is that we tend to look at the extreme ends of a normal distribution. Like those are the things we're interested in, and so in some sense, it kind of makes sense to dichotomize a distribution like that. But this, I am like really curious at if
This is a
there's
good question.
switch
Did
point.
they-
Yeah, we actually have a good question.
So they were. It changed from study to study. Again, they did 4 different studies in this one paper. The first 1 or 2 were university students, so age 20-ish.
Yeah.
But then I think the last one they actually did a community sample.
Yeah, I mean, we actually, yes, that's actually really good thing.
They
Yes.
didn't. They
You
had
nailed that right on the head.
They know control group.
They
right?
had
They
no
had
control,
no
group.
control group.
They talked about attractive and unattractive women,
Yeah.
and they did not have a control.
And they almost pose women in a way as a control group for whatever reason. It's like sort of
Yeah.
set up that way.
Yeah.
But like there's no control. Like you're priming with something in all of these instances.
Yeah.
So like that literally is a perfect control for this.
Yeah.
Like, if you just stare
do
at
nothing.
a wall, you're
So-
not
Yeah.
being primed for anything.
Actually,
Or yeah.
What?
What is it? What did they say? We don't know.
So they said,
Oh, they said-
participants go into a room and stare at a wall.
That's the
instead of
control
staring
group.
At a
So
hot female.
you
or
made
whatever.
a joke about that, but oftentimes when people do a control group, you want to make sure that they're getting like as similar of an experience to the people in the experimental group. So what you'll do is you'll prime them with pictures of furniture.
Right.
Yeah.
That's something that's found really
That's
often in
Or
the
maybe
hilarious.
maybe better
Yeah.
control would be things that kind of look like faces but aren't faces.
People
Like
use
masks
furniture
or something?
They're like, look at this chair. Just like flip through a Craft and Barrel
I
catalog
mean, it's
for a
a
while.
little, it's
'Cause-
easier to make it a very clear control if it's something
'Cause
that's
I'm just
totally
thinking,
unrelated.
like
Yeah, right.
having taken psych classes, like I would just think like make it as similar as possible without engaging the actual effect. So make it face-like without actually having an attractiveness
I mean,
sort
so
of
Does that really
evaluation.
constitute a control?
That's the
That's the
issue.
thing.
Yeah. I mean, if you stare at a picture
Because
of like
there's-
a baby monkey, would that be
Right.
like too similar? Because then you're like,
But isn't that what you
reproductive
want
health makes
though?
salient.
Isn't that what you want though? You want activation of everything except the one thing you care about.
So usually in these kind of studies, you're trying to, in one group, make mating goals salient. So that means like really get people to start thinking about sex and like finding a partner and those kind of things. And in the other group, you want them to be not thinking about that at all, which
Someone might have really strong opinions about automation.
Exactly.
Or no.
Exactly. You have no idea
Yeah,
what kind of
they-
crazy heterogeneity
We
you're
are
gonna
not
get.
accounting for the furniture fetish out there.
yeah, no,
Which
we're
is
not.
totally a thing, by the way.
Is
Those
it?
people exist.
I mean,
There
so-
are people. They're artistic women usually who like form romantic attachments to like physical objects, usually buildings and construction.
Yeah, no wonder you're
Oh.
from New York City. Like, I don't think anybody outside of
I read this online. It wasn't like I ran into them.
Yeah. So anyway, sorry, we got off on all these tangents,
Yeah.
but kind of going to bring it back. Like, this paper, I think, could potentially be really interesting, but it wasn't actually doing the things that they said they were going to do, which, frankly, happens in science frequently and is not necessarily a bad thing, because now another research team can go in and be like, oh, I didn't find that effect because I did my study better.
Right.
And so for these reasons, this effect wasn't there. And that's what science is about, right? Like somebody putting out a hypothesis and being like, I think it works like this, and somebody else like actively trying to disprove you. So I
Definitely.
mean, no shame to the authors. Well, a little bit of shame.
Certainly not. I mean, maybe for the title and for the claims made, but I mean, that's why I say this is a loose interpretation of the term alternative science. We're not trying to say that this is not actually science, and we're not trying to shit on these people. We're just trying to have a little bit more of a critical eye.
If we were going to do a replication of this, how would we?
What would we do better?
Yeah, the actual things they did were okay. It's just that the way they presented it was questionable and seemed a bit like clickbaity.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. I think the conclusions they drew didn't match the experiment they were conducting. But the experiment they were conducting was interesting. So
Totally. Yeah.
So you just pull that from it.
Well,
Ignore everything else.
Let's just fucking update this. Somebody else do a replication of it and see if it
Definitely.
works. So
Let's take all the good bits about this one, get rid of all the bad bits, and then make it into a new thing.
Yeah.
That sounds very constructive.
That's what all science should be like.
It should cheers. Yeah. Cheers. Cheers to constructive
Cheers to that.
science.
That's right.
Woo. Your glass is so small.
I know.
What is it, Nostrovia? In Russian?
Nostrovia? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's Russian. My favorite, though, let's cheers. Let's do this. Because it's Cinco de Mayo. This is something I learned from an Argentinian friend of mine. Arriba.
Arriba.
Abajo.
Abajo.
Abajo?
Al centro.
Al centro.
It works better if there are more people around you, so it's actually in the middle.
Yeah.
Now I'm
Al
getting
dentro.
confused.
Al
Al dentro.
So
There you
up,
go.
down, middle, in your fucking mouth.
That's right. Amen.
That's a great toast.
Yeah, right? That's my favorite.
We have Marion with us right there.
we have a peanut gallery now.
Yes.
So,
The fabulous Marion,
Yeah.
who you might have seen
have
on
seen
last week's Friday,
on the Deep Time.
Science Friday, and when they were
true.
talking about deep time and
very
Steve
true.
Vivol.
She's super
Yeah.
awesome, and now she is our audience.
Woo!
Just
right.
making faces at us while we
Yeah.
say things.
Okay, so I think that brings us to our main event for tonight. We're
Fabulous.
running a little bit long, so let's get into our main topic for tonight.
Maybe can we have a potty
Our
break?
main event.
Neanderthals and
Can we
humans
have a potty break?
We can
boning.
have a potty break. Yes, we can totally have a potty break. Okay. All right.
Sorry.
So hang on.
I'll need to
Hold
pee a
your-
lot later, but not now.
Hold your horses.
Well, I need to pee now.
All
We're
right.
gonna
Much more
We're gonna go
constructive.
to a potty break,
Thank you guys.
and then we'll come back and do our main event.
Seriously, stick
I
with
have
us
to
for just
pee
a
as
couple
well.
minutes,
Yeah,
and
just
then
a
we'll be
couple
back.
minutes.
And-
Intermission.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll be right back. We are back. We are back.
Thank you for
we have
obliging
all
our short
peed.
break. I feel like a new woman. It's great.
Well, I got super drunk and laid
Yep.
on the floor,
Yep,
comatose.
this happened. We have a video of it. We will share on social media later.
Not with them.
I forgot I did not have you sign a release form yet.
All of you have to stop watching right now.
Well, I mean, it's not a big deal. It just means that I couldn't do it without your permission yet. So. Because if you had signed it already,
This was
then
like a
I would
plan
have just
on
done
your
it.
part or something. You're like, I'm being real drunk before she has permission to use my image.
Yes, it was all on purpose. This
Yes.
is part of my genius
Totally.
master plan.
You know what?
Yes.
The release form says she can use my image for as
For
long as
anything.
she wants, forever.
It's true. Honestly, like, it's just a formality. It's really just so that people can't come back and be like, just kidding, you can't use this.
Oh, so you
No,
can
no.
stalk people and take pictures
No.
and
It's
post
legit.
it.
Like
that.
I get the legal ramifications of why, but I was
Yeah.
like I was signing and I was like, forever, huh?
It's weird. It's a
Alright.
little strange, but like.
And so that like the rights for the video don't get like revoked in like 20
Yes,
years or something.
Exactly, right. And so it's also like, so if I want to take a photo from the stream and put it on our social media or whatever,
Yeah.
you don't have to I don't have to get approval from you, but I'm also not going to make us look like assholes.
Well, I trust you.
You know,
Maybe that's a terrible legal
I'm not a
decision,
dick.
but
you know.
we're friends, and so I feel like it's okay.
I would actually
Everything's
revise-
cool for now.
I would revise the release form and put I'm not a dick on it because I think
Is that
I
legal?
would-
Is that legally binding?
I
Yeah.
don't care. It's legally binding.
You are
if we
legally
both sign
required
it,
to not
so-
be a dick as defined by
That's
the
fine.
1933 Supreme Court ruling.
Oh my god.
If it's in writing, it's totally legit. So, but anyway, so there was some drunken shenanigans going on the floor, and we may or may
Mostly
not have
me.
photos later, depending.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we're back
So,
and
yeah,
ready to
we're
talk
back.
about
And
science.
it's all for the
We are back,
fans.
and we are ready to talk about our main event.
the main event.
Yeah.
Woo!
Okay. So our main event for tonight is about some ancient booty calls, basically.
Yeah. Talking about-
Wow, wow.
That's right. Yeah.
I've never had sex to that music, so I don't know where that comes from.
No one ever has.
Wait, so where does that come from?
I think it's like a stereotype of like 80s porn music or
Me,
something.
yeah, probably 70s.
70s.
Yeah,
music.
okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
And maybe it's like like we could, let's get it on. Wow.
Bow chicka
I mean,
wow
yeah.
wow.
It makes sense, but like
That's less classy.
now we have
Wow.
Nora Jones. So
I mean, Marvin
why?
Gaye is delightful. His other music that's not about having sex is also delightful. So, anyway. Okay. Let's move on.
But we're talking about Neanderthals
Yes,
and
we are talking
interbreeding
about-
with humans.
yeah.
Yes.
Screwing things that were basically human and looked like humans, but were not quite human.
Yeah.
The definition is blurry, but there was sex
true.
going on.
There was some sex
Yeah.
going on. Yeah.
That is the whole title.
It's very true.
It's blurry, but there was some sex going on.
we have the actual article
Yeah.
title.
I mean, but
So-
that's pretty damn accurate.
Yeah, I know, right?
It's true. So the actual title of this article is a lot less sexy than the one that you just gave. And it
Was
is-
what I said sexy?
so,
I would
maybe-
click that shit.
More than the title, maybe, but
Yes,
in an objective
Curtis Mayfield.
sense.
Shout out FT Chaos. By the way, thank you for the follow and all your awesome questions. So, welcome. Okay, so the actual title of this article is The Divergence of Neanderthal and Modern Human Y Chromosomes. I don't know why I said divergence, but probably the
Divergence.
booze. I don't know.
Also, because it's a book. So.
Divergent.
Divergent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that
That's
like
true.
what? I don't want
Young
to say
adult
Game of
stuff.
Thrones.
No, it's a young adult
No,
dystopian
what is
fiction.
what is
Yeah.
that other thing?
It's a movie.
No, the
Hunger
other book
Games.
Hunger Games ripoff.
Yeah.
Yes.
A little.
What is that other
A little
thing?
bit.
I don't know.
We are on the same wavelength.
Yes.
I got
That's
you.
another
It totally is, and you know it. Like.
It's kind of a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, okay, but this paper was
So,
talking about
it's
human
actually
and Neanderthal
a really good
divergence.
paper. I really enjoyed it.
I
And
did,
I'm not
yes.
a geneticist, and this is a genetics paper.
Yes.
And it's actually very well written to the point where someone who's not a total geneticist could totally get something out of it.
Right.
So But the reason why this is about Neanderthal and human mating is because of some of the findings that they have. So just to kind of back up and give a little background here. So first I want to talk about Neanderthals, because we haven't really talked about them a little bit. Mm-hmm. So Neanderthals are named for one of the places where they have been found, which is the
Neander
Neander
Valley.
Valley.
Neander
which
Valley.
in German, Neander
Neander.
That's what you sounded like.
I know. I'm an American.
So
America, fuck yeah.
With your shirt.
I know. It says New York below it, so, you know.
So it's better.
Yes!
Oh, okay.
but yeah,
We are better than the rest of America.
Don't say that. Let's not be alienating. Come on.
We're exactly the same as the rest of America.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Anyway. Okay, so Neander Valley in Germany. And Neanderthal, so tall means valley in Germany, supposedly. So I've got a location up there on the map of where this is in Germany.
It's right up there.
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm not
Yeah,
quite
there's a
pointing
little
to it.
dot.
There you go.
Oh, it's in West Germany.
There
There
it
you
is.
go.
There it is.
It's right there.
There you go.
That-
Right there. I
Yep.
could not be a meteorologist.
You guys are totally weather people.
Okay.
So, yeah. So okay. So that's about where it is. And we are talking about another hominin. There's a debate about whether or not they are considered part of Homo sapiens. So a long time ago, they were mostly called Homo neanderthalensis. That's their formal Latin
genus
name.
species name. Yeah.
I'm kind of the urge
But
to raise
then-
my hand like in
But then
other
now
things.
we have lumped them in as Homo sapiens neanderthalensis as a subspecies.
It depends.
Many people have. Like it's an ongoing debate. Right?
But I feel like this paper actually shows why we shouldn't.
I agree.
Because-
I totally
yeah.
agree
Yes.
with that. Yeah, definitely.
Because they're right on the verge of being incapable of producing fertile offspring. Like
right,
us.
and we talked about this in the evolution episode, and like our definition of a species it's a little bit arbitrary, but it does have a line that can or cannot be crossed, and that is whether or not you can reproduce viable offspring.
So
And we'll get to the findings of this paper and talk about why this is actually maybe giving evidence that viable offspring, at least from male Neanderthals to female modern humans, might not have been very possible.
So you
yeah.
can have species distinctions where there are viable offspring,
Right.
but the offspring have such low fitness that they don't really contribute to either species. So
You got to go 2 generations down. Can you have an offspring, and can your offspring have offspring? Like,
yeah,
that's
because really, like, evolution is really about why are we the way we are based on what our ancestors did. So you have to think about across generations. So, like, for example, there are 2 baboon species which have a boundary, and they do interbreed at that boundary, but their offspring aren't very good at being members of either species. So they tend to lose out to members of those species who just have parents from those species. Right. So that preserves the boundary between the 2 of them, because they have such distinct adaptations that even though genetically they can physically interbreed,
Right.
there's no advantage to doing so. And so there's probably even sexual selection on like what they find attractive to find the other species unattractive.
So the
Yeah.
females of the species aren't wasting their time.
Yeah,
Definitely.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so,
Having sexy
so
times
the
with
interesting,
the men,
the interesting thing with Neanderthals and humans is that we did interbreed, and we could.
And we know that.
Yeah, and
Why
actually,
do we know that?
Because fucking Europeans have Europeans and
it's gone down over
Asians
time.
too, yeah.
but have up to like 3% Neanderthal genetic material. Is it 4?
Yeah.
4%.
Yeah,
okay.
4%.
So like
This article says 1 to
4%.
3, but I was like, that's low.
It's actually like
Okay.
like I know like when people we know get tested, they constantly have like 4% Neanderthal coming up, and I don't know if that's because of the sample or whatever. Yeah.
Nice.
Woo!
I haven't
So-
done mine yet.
I haven't done mine either.
So we have Neanderthal DNA. Like so we
Right.
know that anatomically modern humans did interbreed with Neanderthals. But what this paper is talking about then is that the Y chromosomes don't show any
There's no.
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
literally
nothing,
no.
on the
Genetic
Y
material.
Modern human Y chromosome, which is passed just from father to son because they have an XY sex chromosome makeup, whereas females would have XX. So you can only get your 1Y if you're a male from your dad. You're not getting that from your mom. So we do not have this genome up until this paper. We only had females and mitochondrial DNA, which is another one, but it's from mother to all offspring, not just female.
Right.
But so we hadn't seen this yet in the Y chromosome, and I forget what my point was.
There's also a similar pattern in X chromosomes where there's an unusually low level of Neanderthal DNA in X chromosomes.
Sure.
Because if you're a male,
Though
you
it
only
is
have
found.
yes.
Yeah.
But the point is, if you're a male, so let's say like to a human and Neanderthal have sex and they have a son. Yes, there's there's the Y chromosome, but there's
And a mating.
That's how I do it. Am I doing it wrong?
But there's also an X chromosome. And so this is the reason why men are more likely to be colorblind, because you only have one copy of the X chromosome.
Right.
And this is actually why that Y chromosome is probably going to stick around, because there are a few genes where you need two copies and the Y
Right.
chromosome has it. So basically, if you only have one Y chromosome and there's something messed up on it and you're a man, that's all you've got. So if you have a Neanderthal parent and a human parent and you're a man, then you're going to express some kind of genetic problems.
Because we humans have Neanderthal DNA, we know interbreeding was happening, but we could only discern that when the offspring was female, then it was viable and it could continue.
Right.
But since there's no Neanderthal genetic material on the Y chromosome, that suggests that when the offspring between a Neanderthal man and a human woman interbred and had a male offspring, that offspring was not viable.
It's not being passed.
May have been able to survive, but if so, not fertile,
right.
or just had such low fitness that eventually dropped out of the population. This gets to so we know that originally the percentage of Neanderthal genes in humans was much higher, so something like 20-25%, and it's actually gone down over time because of selection. This is back when we were interbreeding. So I think they've looked at like Italian populations who have some of the highest percentages, and what were the percentages in ancient human skeletons and things like that.
Sure.
But all I know is that it's basically gone down over time.
Sure.
So that's shown that there's selection against Neanderthal genes, and most of what's remained around has been immune genes for European diseases and basic stuff for a European ecology, like lighter skin and lighter hair. But a lot of the other stuff, so especially stuff relating to reproductive physiology, has been completely eliminated from the population because whoever had it probably couldn't reproduce.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we don't see this in modern humans at all. We have we're seeing this, up to 4% in an X chromosome or in the autosomes, which are the non-sex chromosomes.
So your other 22
Yeah.
pairs.
Yep.
So
we have a
Neanderthals
picture.
did have XY and XX.
Yes.
So that's a mammalian thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Good question, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So they're actually reptiles where they have the reverse, and birds have the reverse. So
Cool.
there was a
Nice.
divergence at some
I
point.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
I learned a thing.
So since we do not see any trace of Neanderthal DNA on the Y chromosome so far, at least. None of the sequences we're finding from this individual are showing up. So, it's telling us something about viability. And so,
Right.
so this paper is not only telling us that we're not seeing these sequences in modern humans, but we're also seeing a series of different mutations. And so they've actually found mutations in this Neanderthal individual's Y chromosome that basically cause a whole bunch of problems for reproduction.
Right. A lot of them are related to the minor histocompatibility complex. So you probably heard of
Immune genes, basically.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And so the idea is that these people had fucked up immune systems, or even
They weren't compatible with ours, basically.
the offspring weren't
Yeah.
viable. You
Right.
probably a lot of
You're-
spontaneous abortion.
If
Yes.
you had,
Not-
right.
Yes,
like if
because you need
if
a certain
have
degree of compatibility between the mother and fetus
Right.
for the mother to not.
Yes.
Basically, there's a
Basically
probability that the mother will
aborted.
identify the fetus as some foreign
Like, as
agent,
a
and,
parasite.
and
Yeah,
the
exactly.
immune system will attack it and
Yeah,
kill the fetus.
That's exactly what it was. And so in a lot of these, it's different forms, but essentially those mutations were coding for this antigen that was being made in the male offspring, only if it's male. And so then the female who's carrying this male offspring would recognize this antigen as an intruder, much like you would an allergen or an infection or something. And it's like, whoa, this shouldn't be in my body. And so then the mother's immune system would actually attack the baby and then result in potentially a miscarriage.
Yeah.
Basically.
Which I think is why, like, I think women, if they have multiple pregnancies with the same man, like, the probability of miscarriage decreases or something like that because of this.
So I have not heard that before, but I would believe it.
Yeah.
I have heard some things about...
I know there's something about antigen recognition and, like, you can
so
build up
like,
a tolerance.
Yes, so
Yeah.
I have heard some studies, or I don't know, I guess case studies, of women who have an immune response to a male's semen.
Yeah.
So like over time, like in the beginning, you would actually have an immune response to it, but over time, as you've had successive,
They make fun of it on The League.
yeah, right.
So this is why there is sort of an interesting effect where as you become less related with your mate, your fitness increases and then eventually it starts decreasing.
Right.
Because you need, like, there is a certain amount of genetic similarity with your offspring that enables, like, you recognize your
The
fetus, and
compatibility.
yes, there's
Right.
compatibility issues.
But then once you're compatible, having diversity of your immune system is like
Good thing.
really good.
So there's like trade-offs basically, like the more different your mate is, the less likely your offspring is to get sick.
It's a curve, right?
Yeah.
So like the more different you are, your fitness is going up, and then you get to a certain point, and then just
there's
starts
a
going
threshold,
down real
yeah.
quick. So
Yeah.
So we have a question from FT Chaos. Do these issues apply to mules as well, or are they genetically closer?
They can't even have offspring.
Yeah.
Mules are infertile.
right. So I mean,
And
this
that's
is
because they are a hybrid.
exactly.
Yeah. They have a different number of
horses.
chromosomes between horses and donkeys. That's why. You have to
I
have
didn't
this.
know that.
Yeah, so you have to have, I think it's basically you have to have chromosomes matching up.
Yeah.
So you get the issue that when they try to have kids, they get like weird numbers of chromosomes in their gametes.
Yeah.
So,
So mule is a really great example of how you can have an offspring that lives,
Right.
but then that offspring can't have more offspring, and so it stops.
It just dies off, right?
Since nobody was there when humans and Neanderthals were interbreeding, that might have happened. That could have been a
sometimes
thing.
at least, yeah.
But it also could have just been a spontaneous abortion, a miscarriage before the.
Or maybe your kids have a harder time having kids themselves. It doesn't necessarily have to be zero. As long as it's low,
Sure.
those genes could
right.
drop out
As
of the
long as they could be,
population.
like,
True, yeah.
easily outcompeted by other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just tend to see examples where it's like all or nothing.
Yeah.
But interesting thing is, the stuff that did stick around is stuff that's useful in the ecology that Neanderthals adapted to, which is this kind of like cold, forested environment with low sunlight. So probably because of interbreeding with Neanderthals, humans in Europe were able to adapt more quickly than they otherwise would have been able to. So for example, I think like most gingers can trace their genes back to Neanderthals or something.
I love how you just said gingers.
Yeah.
Gingers.
People with red hair and
Yeah.
green eyes.
Yeah. Gingers.
We know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I know.
At first I thought you said genders, and I was like, how does that
It's a different thing.
Gingers.
work? Yeah,
Like the cookie.
gingers.
Like ginger snaps?
Yes, like gingerbread man.
Okay.
Oh,
It's kind of like that.
Yeah,
I guess.
kind of. Yeah.
You use your imagination. No, I mean, I was calling the fucking penis bone of Dracula, so I am not one to talk.
All bets are off.
Yeah.
All bets are off.
I hope I get a medal after this. I'm taking a hit for the team.
Oh man. Yeah, water delivery is nice. That's good. Oh, hey, Thailanders. Thanks for the follow.
Thailand.
Thailanders.
Wait,
yeah.
Thailander? Is that like a play on the movie Highlander?
I
Like
don't
there can
know.
be only one?
I think
I don't know.
she means from Thailand.
But it could be a hilarious
it's
joke of somebody
TY.
from.
Is it a hilarious joke?
Maybe they live in the land of Beanie Babies made by Thai.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
But it sounds
I don't
reasonable.
know, but welcome either way. Also, Zomki, I see you lurking in the chat. Come hang out.
Come hang out. That sounds
Social pressure, interact with us.
Creepy as fuck, yo. Yeah, strawberry blonde, is that the PC term for ginger?
No, there's a difference between strawberry blonde and
Yeah.
redhead.
I mean, this gets the whole thing with like phenotypes and like variation and all that.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
There are more than
Thai
one
plus
kind
Highlander.
of ginger.
That's
Like,
Yeah.
But there can be only one Highlander.
That movie was terrible. I watched it and I was like, I didn't like any of this. And
was it the accents?
You know what? I love fucking Sean Connery, but I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
What is this? I'm a nerd. I usually like shit like that.
Dun
so.
dun dun.
Dun,
is
dun,
right.
dun.
That's right.
Thai Highlander.
I know. I already made that joke,
Yep,
Eric.
I know. They're repeating it, and I'm repeating them. It's a circle.
It's a circular using of the words. You said it. You said it.
Yes, that is 100% what's going on inside my head.
I'm snorting too. It's
Calm down, Ruth. Calm down.
I just remembered Melissa McCarthy, and it's just hilarious.
Oh god, yeah. So FTKS literally just said thank you, Spicer.
Yeah, I know, right? Okay.
Okay,
We kind of got off topic. We were talking
let's
about
bring it back.
See, isn't everything
Bring it
better with
back.
drunk me?
It's totally true.
Yes.
It's totally true.
It is. No,
Yeah.
I love you any way you are.
Thanks.
Yep. You are beautiful. What, I don't know.
No matter what they say, what are they saying?
I don't know what they're saying.
What are they
Oh
saying?
my god, that song spoke to my soul when I was 17, and now I can't remember it.
I'm so angsty.
No matter what they say.
So Neanderthal sex.
Yeah.
All right, so why do
So
you
we
care about
boned the
this?
fuck out of them, but their genes weren't that useful. The end.
Yeah. So, but okay, let's be real. Yes, that's probably true.
As an overview, I think that fits.
Oh, I also want to point out, so far we've been talking about Neanderthal males and human females.
Yes.
Like, why are we not talking about the other way around?
So probably more viable because of the two X chromosomes.
Well, but if it's a Neanderthal female, it's probably going to be it's going to be raised as a Neanderthal.
Well, so the only
not as a-
yeah.
Well, it's also that like these mutations are showing up on the Y chromosome. So if you have a
Yes.
it's if you have a female offspring instead of a male offspring, even if you have a modern human female and a Neanderthal male, if you have a female, you don't have to
You're
worry
good.
about this Y chromosome
Yeah.
being passed on, and
Yeah.
so you don't have these mutations.
Right.
So you may have the same issue, but the point is the only evidence we have is whatever DNA we can get from skeletons and whatever DNA we can get from living people. And in living people, you're not going to see the Y chromosome. And so it could be that when a human female, no, when a
Human male and
when a human
Neanderthal
male
female.
and Neanderthal
Right.
female mated, that their male offspring were also infertile or got spontaneously aborted or something. But we wouldn't see that in the genetic signature of modern day humans
Right.
because that would that's also eliminating, like, you're not going to see any Y chromosome.
Well,
DNA
it's also
from-
a human male Y chromosome in that case.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, so,
And you can get the human male chromosome from other human males who are mating with human females. So
right.
it still continues in the population.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we don't have an ability to say anything about that. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was also issues with fertility with the reverse gender situation.
Right.
Sure.
So we have a question from Kangaroo Beats, and I'm going to ask for a clarification here after I read it. I wonder what the trade-offs between Europeans who came to Australia and mixed or mated with Australian Aboriginals would be genetically, considering it's been just over 200 years. So I want to clarify.
Humans are really
Yeah.
genetically similar to
We're
each
very
other.
similar. So,
Despite the
yeah.
phenotypic differences, so humans almost went extinct a few, like 70,000 years ago, right when we were leaving Africa. So there was a bottleneck because of that, and then there was a bottleneck because only a few people left Africa, and then a
Right.
few people entered Asia, and then a few people entered
Yeah.
Australia. So the amount that we have in common with each other, like the most genetically diverse population on Earth is Africans.
Yes.
And then outside of that, It's
and
like
that is because they
Yeah.
have the oldest sources of genetic diversity.
Yes.
Because they've been there.
they never
living
lost
for a
any
lot longer than
material.
everybody else.
Yeah.
Because everyone else who has left Africa has become a subset of the genetic diversity
Yeah.
that was already present in Africa. And so
Yeah.
Europeans are a subset, the Asians are a subset, Australians would be another subset from that, and then everyone from in North America would be a subset from Asia, etc.
Whatever genetic information we got from like Neanderthals or Homo erectus, if that actually happened, we don't have Homo erectus DNA, we think yet. So
so far.
Yeah, but that's gone down over time too. So even diversity from that has gone down. So like a lot of the genes that control people's phenotypes are pretty small, and a lot of the actual selected phenotypic differences between people relate to immune differences for your local environment. So like how common malaria is, and like how much like skin cancer you get. So the skin color
your
is related.
melatonin.
Yeah, your melatonin is basically like, so for example, even like 7,000 years ago, before Europeans developed agriculture, Europeans were darker skinned than they are now. So like, for example, if you look at a map of skin tone in the world, modern Europeans are lighter skinned than Inuit in Canada. And that's because when you are a hunter-gatherer, you eat a lot of meat, and you get vitamin D through the meat. But when you start farming, you get less vitamin D, and so you have to lighten your skin in order to make up for that. So Europeans actually...
So wait, why is that?
So light skin takes in more vitamin D from the sun. That's one of like, our main sources of vitamin D is we get it through the sun. So people who live near the equator and get a lot of sunshine don't need, or they're getting it all the time, so their skin is darker colored because they're not taking, so they don't take as much in. But then people who live near the poles are going to be lighter skinned so they can take in more vitamin D.
And there's less sunshine, and vitamin D is an essential nutrient, so we actually
have to have it.
So lighter skin at higher latitudes is actually an adaptation to allow greater vitamin D.
Well, actually we do.
The skin.
So someone mentioned we actually do have DNA from people a few thousand years ago. So for example, the reason we know we're related to Neanderthals is because we have Neanderthal DNA, because you can, enough of it was preserved in their skeletons that if you grind it up and do chemical analysis, you can get DNA from their skeletons. And it's even easier for people, for like Europeans just 7,000 years ago. So we know what they looked like to a certain extent based on their genes. So we know what their eye color was and what their skin color was. And so you can actually go online and find pictures of European hunter-gatherers back 7,000, 8,000 years ago, and they look kind of like people from Sicily, but with sort of like green or blue eyes and stuff. But the point is that when you transition to agriculture, you're not getting as many other kinds of nutrients. You're getting a lot of starch, a lot of calories, so you can have tons of kids, but you don't have as much other kinds of things like calcium, vitamin D, all the vitamins. And so humans, unlike a lot of other animals, actually can make our own vitamin D in our skin. And so that put pressure on Europeans to become lighter skinned. This didn't happen in, like, for example, Siberian populations or Canadian populations where they still ate a lot of meat. So
which is
super fucking interesting.
D, So cool.
So the point is, most of the selection that we know about, that we have really good evidence for, is pretty obvious stuff where it's like, this environment has a lot of this kind of disease, this environment has a lot of that kind of disease, this environment has a lot of sunshine, this environment doesn't, and most of the change is due to that. But when we try to look for evidence in other kinds of genes for selection, not as obvious. Maybe some stuff for diet, like digesting milk or digesting starch. But aside from that, it does, like, basically being human in one environment is pretty similar to being human in another environment.
All right, so we're gonna go back and we're gonna slow down and we're gonna talk about vitamin D again because Scott Sutherland is asking for some additional information.
Okay, so I talk very quickly. I know this.
Is
I'm
Ska
just so
Man
excited about the
Scott?
world.
No, it's not drunk. We're a little bit drunk, so we're going to go
a little bit
fast.
I'm only a little bit drunk. Ask me again in like 10 minutes.
We're getting close to the
I'm
end.
doing okay.
So,
I'm working my way down.
Okay, good.
Can you bring you back up?
We have tequila on the table.
We're good.
Yeah, we should kill that maybe when we're done.
They took away the bottles.
All right. Yeah, I took them away
slowly.
from you. You did not need that.
I really don't need them anymore.
Yeah.
It's true. Okay, so let's back up and we're going to talk about vitamin D again. So how did we get on this skin color conversation.
Because we were talking about like differences. They asked about Australians and humans because we were talking
Yes.
about divergence
Which
in
we didn't answer
populations
their question,
and the ability to
but
interbreed.
let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
we kind of answered the question.
kind of, yeah. So the whole point of that, I guess, was that we are extremely genetically similar amongst modern humans. We are
Yeah.
way more similar than we are different.
Even
And-
compared to other species, we're really similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Kind of like creepy similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
We're like borderline close.
yeah.
yeah.
And so
Kind of weird.
So in terms of like Europeans going to Australia and then mating with local people, there wouldn't have been this same sort of incompatibility there as was with modern humans and Neanderthals back in the day, because we are all the same species.
Yes.
We all have the same number of chromosomes, all of these things. We are actually extremely genetically similar, and so there wouldn't necessarily be any sort of problems with a mating between these two populations. It would just, you would end up with offspring who are a mix of the two, essentially. And so I guess that kind of answers that question. But going back to the skin color stuff with vitamin D. So this is kind of an aside, but let's just, clarify all of these things. So skin color is, yeah, totally. Weapons live, that's legit. Like I always say, we're a couple of strands away from seeing your own too.
We're basically like a million years away from being upright chimpanzees. So
Totally. Yeah, right.
2 million.
Definitely.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's a, yeah.
Yeah.
But
We're
so
pretty
anyway.
new.
Yeah,
The new kids on
That's
the block.
legit. We totally are. We're incredibly new. And that's why it's so amazing that we've, sort of gotten to the point where we have this amazing consciousness and the ability to create and all
Well,
of
we've
these things.
also kind of hit
That's
like
a whole other
a population inflection point.
Yeah.
Where we
we have
can't have
super
anyone.
high fertility.
Carrying
Humans have way
capacity.
higher fertility than chimpanzees.
That's a whole other topic for
Yeah.
another episode.
But also
for
Yeah.
very interesting.
yeah.
Yeah.
But so hang on, let's go back to vitamin D.
Yes,
real
sorry.
quick.
Yep.
So,
Lol weapons,
okay,
yes.
so skin color is a function somewhat of latitude. So
Mm-hmm.
the closer you are to the equator, the more sun exposure you are going to have, and the more melanin you will have in your skin to protect against the sun exposure from skin cancer, those kinds of things. But you also need vitamin D. And so humans have this amazing ability to synthesize vitamin D in your own skin. And when you have less sun exposure in higher altitude, or not altitudes, latitudes.
Latitudes, yeah.
Also altitudes.
I mean, also altitudes too, but latitudes, where when we are leaving Africa, when we're moving into Europe and Asia, we are at higher latitudes. There's less sun exposure, but we need that vitamin D. And if we're not getting it from our diet, we have this ability to get it from our skin. And so there is an adaptation that people actually developed lighter skin, less melanin in the skin, because it allows for greater vitamin D synthesization inside your skin, which you need. And you're only getting that at higher latitudes because you don't have as much as the exposure.
Is this why people in Seattle are so pissy all the time?
I mean, okay, that's like a legit question because
Are they
people-
clumsier? Because vitamin D is associated with like coordination.
Well, no, but like
So,
what he's
yes.
talking about
My doctor
is
told me about that. So,
is
yeah.
seasonal affective disorder.
Oh, yes.
He's talking,
yes.
he or
Oh.
she, I don't know who this is, but FT Chaos is
Okay.
talking about seasonal
Yes.
affective disorder.
Which is a real fucking
Yeah,
thing.
it is a
Yeah.
real thing.
Although I
have
don't think
personally
that's associated with
experienced
the
this.
vitamin D. I think that's associated with circadian rhythms, my impression anyway.
It's sun exposure in general that
Yeah.
sun makes you happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Well, it's because at night you want to be sleepy, and so if it's dark all the time, you have this depressed.
It's not so much that. It's actually
Okay.
it's the UV rays that are actually doing it. It's not just
Really?
light in general. Yes, because treatment for seasonal affective disorder is having a light in your room that actually emits the same frequency of light as the sun. So you're actually like putting UV rays onto you. You buy UV
But
lamps.
so I guess
basically.
the question is that because it leads to production of vitamin
don't
D in
know
your
that it's
skin, or is it
vitamin
because
D.
it goes into your eyes and that leads to changes in your neurophysiology
Well,
because
but
you think,
you
oh,
can-
it's daytime.
But you can disrupt your sleep cycle by looking at non-UV light just by looking at your cell phone. So it's
Yeah.
not.
That's
it's
true.
not that.
So
I'm not
it's probably
sure,
circadian related.
I'm not sure
I would think.
exactly what the mechanism is. I just know that if you are in sunnier areas, you are much less likely to have seasonal affective disorder, which the disorder is usually in winters when you have a lot less sun, usually at higher latitudes. I've personally experienced this. And you essentially get depressed because it's
Someone
cloudy all
mentioned
the
Sweden.
time.
Someone Swedish
Yeah,
here.
Sweden.
And
The
Sweden
same
has a
time
lot
in
of
north
depression
Sweden in
issues
summer
because
we
of
have
this.
sun.
Yeah.
So how does seasonal affective disorder work in Scandinavian countries where you're going like 20 hours of sunlight?
They have a
versus 20
lot
hours
from
of
what I've
dark?
heard.
They also have universal health care. So
That's true.
It balances out.
they can get the help they need.
Yeah, that's definitely true. But like, I mean, that's an extreme of it. We can see it just in seasons in higher latitudes.
Right.
In North America, and people in Seattle, like the original comment, there's a lot of rain, there's not a whole lot of sunshine, so yeah, that's a total thing that happens. Depression is very high.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's interesting.
I think it's
wondering
known that
if
like
there
Scandinavian
are
countries have unusually high levels of
interventions
depression
that
or
you
something.
might have in Sweden
I
that
think
might
that's
be
the thing.
different.
Is it? Well, they also have like a way better quality of life. So it's
Yeah,
like,
but that's what makes the depression actually more. It stands out more.
Yeah, okay.
Because you're like, okay, so what do you like?
Your
What are
life
you
is
depressed about?
fucking
Right,
great.
right.
Like,
Yeah.
why are you- yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
maybe just diagnosed at like higher rates.
Huh.
More
But I would
accurate.
suspect there is like a circadian element to it. Yeah.
I don't know enough about
we
it,
need
frankly.
we need to Google seasonal affective disorder. Apparently,
Hey, can somebody do that?
yeah.
On it. I haven't
Alright.
found anything good yet.
Cool.
Basically, everyone's saying, I have no idea.
Okay, so maybe we
Fabulous.
don't know
I've
yet.
been trying to find something.
There's a lot of stuff people don't know about,
It's entirely
FYI.
possible that we might not know yet.
That's
Yeah.
why we do
It
science.
is
Yep.
either neurotransmitters, hormones, circadian rhythm, genetic polymorphisms, or physiological factors. So that's super
Well, that's
narrow.
literally everything.
That's actually the best answer I've found.
Wow. All right.
Point is, Swedes are depressed. We don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But probably
all I
sun.
can find is management information. Like manage it with
Sure.
light therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't know which of those factors are actually being triggered by the light therapy.
But the light
Interesting.
therapy still makes me think it's either like vitamin D or circadian rhythms. It's one or the other.
Because
Because
it has to be UV
light oriented. It has to be light
specific
oriented.
light.
It is
Yes.
specifically UV light.
Yeah.
Like you can buy UV lights
Right.
specifically.
So
for
if you
this
have
purpose.
people who use UV light boxes and it has no visible light in it, does it affect their seasonal affective disorder?
I don't know. I don't
So-
know.
Because
that-
that's how you would test this.
Right. Yeah, but I don't know that that's a product that's marketed. But like
Yeah.
no, I think
Yeah.
it would be a really interesting experiment. But I think right now, like UV lamps are still lamps. Like they're emitting
Yeah,
seeable light.
Northern
Right.
Europeans are ranked really high in
Yes.
happiness.
Yeah, so rank 26
But
in happiest
also,
countries.
it's true, like, there's a pretty high prevalence of depression, which
Yeah.
kind of points to this, like, it's not like your life sucks, is that there's something going
Right.
on with you mentally because of the environment.
Yeah.
But but FT Chaos also put a link in there. Sorry about you got timed out for a link. It's not a big deal. But so they had a news story from Seattle that says that they have only had 3 sunny, mild days since October.
I've always
Ew.
kind of wanted to
Crazy.
live in Seattle, though. 'cause
I mean,
it's-
Seattle-
Get a fucking UV lamp.
I really like Seattle. Yeah.
I'm a dour person as it is.
I honestly would have a hard time living in Seattle because of that.
Yeah.
Like I've had this issue before, and then we moved to Albuquerque, which has 300 plus days of
Yeah,
sunshine.
it's rare if it rains.
Yeah.
I found one explanation that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay.
It's really complicated.
Okay.
All right.
And I don't know if anyone can hear me.
Come on
via the
camera.
internet.
Human,
on
come
over.
forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Talk
have,
in- you can
we
talk
have
in
an
my booth.
intelligent
Someone's
Googling.
booth. Mike.
Yeah, here. Can I?
This is
Here,
Marion.
come over
She
here.
is human academic.
Okay, so hi! So I've been trying to figure out the seasonal affective disorder question, which is an awesome question. I think this is okay. I think they can hear me. And so the best explanation that I found is that there's this pathway that connects your retinal ganglion cells, which are cells in your eye, to your hypothalamus, which is the part of your brain that controls a lot of your emotional reactions and things like that. And so the ganglion cells in your retina produce this chemical called melanopsin, which is related to melatonin.
Got it.
And
Okay,
then
so
that travels through a complex pathway that is not worth spelling out here, and basically suppresses melatonin. So if you don't have sunlight coming in,
okay. So
you
it
don't
is
have
a
these
circadian
cells.
rhythm.
Yeah, so
potential
if you don't have these cells being stimulated, you are producing this melanopsin and you're suppressing your melatonin production, which brings your mood down.
Melatonin is it a hormone?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's a
hormone that-
hormone or
that
neurotransmitter, something like that.
Regulates your circadian rhythm.
Good job,
Basically,
Mary.
every time melatonin comes into your body, it's like, my body should sleep now. And so that's why, like, if you have a hard time sleeping, you can take melatonin supplements.
Yes.
And it's maintaining your circadian rhythm.
So prediction then that we
Ganglion
could
style.
test.
That's right.
Yeah. Science time, testable prediction is that people in these areas would have more insomnia.
So people in higher
They would have more
latitudes-
depression and more insomnia. And actually, there is an association with sleep disorders and
That
emotional affective
That
disorders.
makes sense
Yeah.
because if you can't sleep, fuck the world.
But for example,
and both live in Seattle and both have horrible troubles with insomnia.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but a lot of mental
Yes.
disorders are actually associated with insomnia. We are so
Anecdotal
off
evidence.
track, but it's super interesting. So, for example, schizophrenia is associated with sleep disruption. So, for example, so basically, there are people who hypothesize that this sleep disruption and dysfunction in your ability to sleep actually produces like dream-like states in your brain.
Okay.
And that's associated with schizophrenia and depression and things like that. Your brain's trying to compensate, or it can't get the sleep it needs, and so it's doing wacky things.
Well, in schizophrenia,
Yeah.
you also have trimming of neural pathways.
Yes,
Totally
which is
different.
another issue. So if you do not sleep enough, you will die. We have plenty of evidence for this.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Definitely.
It's more for humans, but with rats, like I think 57 days or something, if a rat doesn't sleep for 57 days, it's dead.
Humans, it's a lot less. If you don't sleep for like
Really?
6 days or something.
Because I think because we have more brain matter, it would take longer to kill us.
I mean, so you have irreversible brain damage after like 6 or 7 days or something. without
Awesome.
sleep.
Just totally had that. I mean,
Makes me second
had-
guess my sleepless night.
I had bronchitis that was complicated by asthma apparently, and I literally did not sleep for more than an hour or two every night for about 10 days.
But
I did sleep a
interestingly,
little.
exactly.
Like, that's
Interesting enough. That's enough to
enough
like
that I
counteract
didn't
it. Yeah.
die.
Yeah.
But it was still like, I want to fucking kill some people.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
It was awful.
No, it totally does affect your ability to control yourself and your ability to regulate your moods if you lose sleep.
Yeah.
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 100%.
We've all probably experienced that.
We're in grad school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Neanderthals and humans fucking.
We got super off topic.
Yeah, I think we kind of killed the topic there. Yeah, I think we
We
did
explored
it.
as much as we could explore, I think.
Yeah. The one thing that I will ask though is why does this research kind of matter? Like, why do we care that there were these problems between Neanderthals and humans?
Because research is cool to do for its fucking own right. All right.
True.
Also, their Neanderthal genes are actually associated with behavioral disorders in modern humans. So
I was
they're-
not aware of that.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I think about sex all day. I don't know.
this is why you should join anthropology. We do all the cool stuff. There are associations
Yes,
between.
another insight into our human history. Thank you.
Yes,
That's
which is
legit.
cool in and of itself and tells us something about how we evolved and therefore
Yes.
how humans are now.
Right.
But it related to that, Neanderthal genes, because they're not as compatible, they didn't co-evolve with like the rest of our genome. They are associated with, I think, like autism and some other things. So
I didn't know that.
yeah,
I did not know that. Yeah.
because think about it. If there was any behavioral differences, if they have different language capacities or anything like that, and you inherited those genes, like even in their own genome, it led to behavioral differences.
No,
Imagine what it's like in us.
I mean, like, if you wrote an introduction to a study that said that, I would be interested enough to keep reading. But now I want to see an experiment.
Sure.
Okay.
Like,
I think
yeah.
there have been studies in like disease
Sure.
prevalence. I'd have to look it up, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a future episode. How about that? Yeah. All right. So I think we killed the main
Everything.
event here. Yeah.
the world.
Unless you guys have other questions, which we'll save for the end. But
I mean, like I said, I know a lot about sex, so
yeah.
Ask her questions about doing it.
No, yeah.
Don't ask that.
That's opening a Pandora's box we do not want to open on the internet.
Although I was in college a trained sexual health advocate, so like I do.
So maybe actually do that.
do actually have some training in this area.
Sex education is terrible in this country,
Right.
so let's proliferate.
Maybe we should
Literally
have a sex
any-
We
education
should
show.
totally do a sex ed class.
Definitely.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I'm into it.
yeah.
Twitch might not be, but I don't care.
Whatever, we're already
long
a
as
kind of dirty show.
We're not.
So
We are not filming porn. I promise.
no sex is happening.
We are talking
No.
about science and sex and clinical sexual things.
Sex via-
biological act.
Yes.
Sex via science.
Yes.
We were talking about sex
Yes,
via
via
science.
Yes,
That's right.
exactly. So we're talking about
So-
the sciencey side of sexy times.
Yeah. So anyway.
Or the sexy times of science.
Right.
Or that. Yeah, right.
Science is sexy.
It's true. It is.
Well, look at this.
It is if we have titles like "Sexy Women Can Tempt Men Down the Road of Immorality."
Science women tempting men down knowledge
Yeah.
since forever.
We might as well have like a scientific article that's like, "Let's watch porn and then talk about it" or something. Like
Also
that's-
known as half
I'm
of
not,
EbSpsych.
I would not be surprised.
There have been articles written about porn in actual academic journal.
I know.
It is
100%
actually super
sexology is a field.
Didn't Kinsey do some stuff with porn?
Well, Kinsey was the big one.
Yeah.
Kinsey did a lot of things.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. but-
And I mean, super fucking important. We learned so
Yeah,
much from
for
his
sure.
research. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's definitely a future.
I think
episode.
the most important thing is it founded sexology, which then like became more scientific later on.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
sure.
that field still's got a little bit of problems. Sometimes their science is not great.
People say that about psychology.
That's true. That's true. But then I work extra
Anthropology,
fucking
let's
hard.
be honest.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
I mean-
we could always go another one.
Yeah.
Totally. All right. Okay, so let's bring it home and go to our last segment, which is what's the coolest thing you learned this week? All right. I will start,
Go
I
for
guess. So the coolest thing I learned this week is yes, okay. Kangaroo Beats intelligence is pretty fucking sexy. That's totally true. I just wanted to agree with that.
Affirm that.
Yeah, totally.
Yep.
So, okay. So the coolest thing I learned this week was listening to an old podcast from the TED Talks podcast, the TED Radio Hour, I guess.
Yeah. Yep.
So they had a rebroadcast of an older one that was called How Things Spread this week. And I was listening to it today, and the first part of it is talking about laughter. And, we all kind of know that laughter is contagious, and you're more likely to laugh at something when there are other people in the room. But basically, one of their first speakers on there kind of delved into more about why that is. And one of the coolest things that I learned is that most people generally think that laughter is a human-specific trait, which it's not. And I guess I probably knew this beforehand a little bit, but like it
You can
kind
tickle
of
rats.
delved. Yes, so rats,
And they laugh if
and
you turn
primates.
down the frequency or something. You can hear
Sure.
them going, hey.
Yeah, totally.
Totally, yeah.
So that was one of the examples they gave, was that like most primates and rats also will exhibit laughter, usually in response to some sort of tickling.
That's so cool.
And it's crazy.
Because it's
Like, that's so
it's
amazing
like
to me.
aggression, but you're holding back.
Yeah.
So you're kind of saying, like, you're encouraging them to get out of it, and you're also
Right.
showing that you're not a threat.
Yes.
So it's like the perfect
Which,
play
like,
behavior.
Yeah,
It's
no,
totally
laughter is
true
a
in
great
humans,
affiliate
too. It's like,
yeah.
And the rats
I
will
hate
be
it,
more
but I
likely
don't
to
want you to
associate.
stop,
Yeah,
you
they'll
know?
be more likely to associate with you if you tickle
Yeah,
them.
totally.
They like chase their hand around.
Yeah.
I've seen
Right.
videos of it.
Yeah.
It's really cute.
And like so laughter usually happens in those kinds of contexts, but it also happens in contexts of play, and like all mammals play at some point, and it's a super important behavior. And eventually we will have a play episode because we have a colleague who studies play in chimpanzees.
Chris, woo-woo.
What? And she's
Shout out to
like
Chris.
off
Yep.
in the field in Uganda studying that shit.
She's getting
right
more
now,
data points for you.
right now. So
For you.
eventually she will be on the show. But yeah, so like play is super important, and laughter is not just a human specific trait. And it's also like the thing that was also super interesting about this was that laughter it's really it's like a human interaction thing. Like
Our
there's
brain
a
tickles
reason-
your brain,
Yeah, like there's a
basically.
reason
Yeah.
why if you're watching some hilarious comedy special alone, you don't laugh as much. And it's because your laughter is communicating that you not only understand the joke or whatever it is to the other people around you, but it's also that you like this person you're around.
Yeah.
That you
want to affiliate
want
with
to
them.
affiliate
Yeah.
with
It's a
them.
kind of
You
empathy
want-
response.
Yeah,
You're like
absolutely.
you're kind of unifying your mental state. You're like, we both understand
Absolutely.
this
Like,
joke.
We
both are part
on
of the same
page.
social group.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Social
that's
bonding
super interesting.
experience.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it's also the best medicine. Like, that's legit.
Yep.
I think that's
so it
really
reduces
true.
stress.
I wanna
It
make a
has,
joke right
has
now.
tons
make
of positive
the joke,
benefits.
you know, like laughter
Yeah.
legitimately is the best
No,
medicine.
no, but it's
like,
just gonna get real political.
oh,
Gonna be the only medicine we have left.
that might be true.
Well, that's why it's important to
But,
learn
yeah.
to laugh at the horrible things in life.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
We'll laugh more than ever.
Anyway, so that's the cool thing I learned.
Yeah.
At least learned more about, and I think it's super fun, and I like laughing. I have a good time.
That's a cool thing.
So
That's part of
relate-
the thing
yeah.
about this show, you know.
Human laughter, they think, comes from like the play. So when chimpanzees play, they make like exaggerated breathing sounds because it's
Right,
like
like
when
the
you're doing
panting,
physical
yeah.
activity,
Right,
you
they're
pant,
like,
and then
kind
and
of
so they
thing, yeah.
exaggerated it
Yeah.
to show that they're playing, and so they think laughter is basically like an exaggerated play response. Like
Right.
we're simulating your brain, you're simulating our brain. We're like playing verbally.
Yes. And a lot of those are like sort of pseudo-aggressive play too. So like those
Yeah.
noises are supposed to symbolize that like I'm not actually fighting you.
Like tickling and laughter.
Like tickling, right. So
Yeah.
it's like, yes, we're play fighting, but I'm not actually fighting you. I'm not actually a threat. So that noise is communicating something. That's the same thing with dogs. They sneeze. So when you're in like a play fighting
I thought they like
scenario-
open their mouths and like
Well,
loll
so-
their tongue.
Yes, that's
and, like,
another
breathe
way to
heavy.
do it. But like a lot of times when there's a group of dogs who are sort of play fighting or whatever, you will sometimes have them sneeze or yawn, and it's like this like I'm opening my mouth and I'm becoming vulnerable when I do that.
Yeah.
And so it's a symbol
Notice-
of like I'm not actually a threat.
When you laugh or smile, you close your eyes, which decreases
Yeah,
your
right?
ability. When an animal is aggressive, it opens its eyes as wide as possible.
That's
so
totally true.
the fact
Yeah,
that
it's a
laughter
good
is the
point.
opposite, you're making yourself vulnerable.
That's a really good point, actually. Yeah,
Laughter's fucking cool.
that's
yeah.
true.
Humans are awesome.
But also other mammals that laugh. I think that was the message there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not just humans.
Yes, but we all study humans to some
It's
extent.
true.
So.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
thanks, FT Chaos. Take it easy.
See ya.
See you in 2 weeks. We won't have an episode next week, but thank you for watching.
The coolest thing I learned this week. I learned a lot of cool things this week, honestly.
Awesome.
But this week I had so much fun prepping for this episode.
Cool.
And part of that is like, this is my jam, right? Studying
Risk taking and sex.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, hot damn.
That's what I do. Yeah.
Bacula.
Exactly. No, so I was reading this paper about the fucking baculum, and I was like, this is so cool. And I don't know. I think.
Oh no, dogs!
Dogs.
Dogs!
That might be our. This might be our version of the hook.
I learned nothing.
That's a lot.
I know.
Come here.
But anyway, we all learned cool shit. And I hope you learned something too.
Jesus. Just so much chaos is happening right now.
I know.
It's true.
So thanks so
come
much
here.
for watching us. We super appreciate it. We have a great time up here, so I hope you have a great time
Indeed.
listening to this. And please, if you have questions,
Yeah, if you
ask
have any
them.
other questions,
Yep.
let us know.
I mean, like, just in general, like, we have a kind of set episode guide of things we're going to talk about,
Yeah.
but we are so willing to deviate from to kind of off on
Definitely.
tangents, as
We
you
want
could
this to
probably
be-
tell.
We want this to be heavily driven by audience participation. So.
Yeah, we are in fact experts in our respective fields, and so like,
Which are narrow.
which are super narrow. Yeah. Right. So if you ask me something outside of risk-taking behaviors, I'm gonna be like, "Fuck you." I don't know.
Yep, introduce the dog to the show.
They have been on stream before. So.
Okay.
Martha's back.
Is this the nervous one or the cool
Yeah,
one?
he's nervous.
Oh.
But he's fine. He's cool right now. He's on my lap.
He has super anxiety problems.
They just got groomed, so they're beautiful. They look really silly, but yeah.
Yeah, so follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. Where else are we on?
You'll find all of our articles and stuff that we're going to talk about in the next episode on social media.
Right, so you can read them. And
you can actually read them, ask us questions. You can tell us things that you might want to actually learn about. That's also true.
Absolutely.
Follow us on Twitch. That's the best way to find out when we're actually live again. We are normally live for this show every Friday. Next week we will not have a show because I unfortunately am going to Mexico. Like, why
unfortunately?
Would you do that? Yeah, right. So
how dare you?
Like, how awful. So if I had other people to help me run the show, I would totally do that, but I'm gonna be
on we're a small production
somewhere. So, but that being said, we are going to have a new CRISPR update that's going to come out while we're out of town, because we had this CRISPR episode. This was our first one. And there has been some really cool shit that's come out even just in the last few weeks since we did that episode. Some like really groundbreaking shit. So we're gonna do a little CRISPR update with Sarah, our resident population geneticist, and we'll release that while I'm gone. But our next episode, no, Cuban bread. You missed it. Oh no. You can watch the VOD. Please watch the VOD. And we will have the next episode coming up soon. But yeah, so our next live episode will be on the 19th, and we're going to be talking about physics. It'll be super fun. Eric's going to be hanging out with us again.
Yep, and Scott, right?
And Scott, our buddy Scott, yeah.
Going to be me and Scott and
me,
you.
Yeah, and we're going to be...
Also Grady?
I think it's just going to be the three of us, yeah.
All right.
So, and we're going to talk about physics, quantum physics, mostly. And then we're
quantize that shit.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about the physics of gaming as well, and we're gonna play some games that have some like really funky physics during the stream. So that's kind of fun. Mostly Gang Beast, because that game is like my physics are like let's walk around like this. And it's like
that's how
I really silly.
Do you not walk like that?
Are you from the Ministry of Silly Walks?
Yeah. It's Monty Python the game.
It is definitely an iteration of the Ministry of Silly Walks for sure. So that'll be in 2 weeks on the 19th. But while I'm gone, we will have this CRISPR update. It'll be fun. There's some really cool shit we're going to be talking about, and we'll probably do some. We'll probably be doing some rebroadcasts here.
Thank you
too,
so much,
dude,
Scott Seven Man.
Seven Man.
Is that Scott Man? Is that seven supposed to be another letter or something?
Man, like, tell us
Scott
how to
Man?
actually pronounce your thing. But like, I'm so glad that this is the coolest thing you've done this week.
Yeah.
And, like, please show up again. We are so happy to have you.
Tell your friends.
So
your third
much.
dog is so disappointed.
I know. She's like not a lap dog.
She is
like,
aggressively enthusiastic.
Another one.
You know what? I'll switch out the dogs.
Nakamura 1980.
Wait.
Hello.
You're so heavy. You're so freaking heavy.
Oh my god.
She literally wiggles her butt to wag her tail.
So I think we should now transition to our sustainable energy episode, because Martha is our new form of sustainable energy.
Yes, if we attach her butt to any kind of mechanical device that generates energy,
so much of her hair
it
in
will
my mouth.
power at least Albuquerque.
Oh, Martha!
She's so enthusiastic. She's like, we're all like, oh yes, all serious. She's like, I'm just happy to be here.
And now we're all happy because she's happy. Oh my god, we just talked about that.
I know.
Yes.
Oh.
And this is why we love dogs, the evolution.
That's right. Yes. We will have a dog episode. There are some things that have been coming out about
Dogs totally evolved because of us. And not just because we made them. Like, they evolved to us on their own.
Yeah. Which is cool.
It's super interesting.
The physics of that tail are a whole other topic.
The physics of dogs.
Well, Martha's tail
specifically. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I feel like there's a whole new law of thermodynamics thermodynamics just from her tail.
Look at her ears. She's got bat ears.
I know.
No. Bye.
Anyway,
Yes.
Bye,
I
guys.
think we have some new people that just came in. Thank you guys for tuning in. We will have more.
You got dogs, so we gave you something. Remember that.
And thank you for the follows and the hosts. We had some good stuff coming in. So thank you so much.
You can rewatch
Yeah,
this episode,
you
so
can.
if you missed
It
it,
will
you
be
can,
on
you
the
can go
VOD.
back and rewatch it.
Yeah, and we hope you tune in.
I don't
again.
do that or anything.
It's a good time. And we will be back for another live episode in 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
But there will be some little tidbits that come in here and there between now and then. Oh man, Hose Beats cheer at 100 bits.
What?
Oh snap! Where is that? Oh, you know what?
We like you more now. Everyone else, if you want to be more popular, follow suit.
Are we buying
I'm
love?
so sad. It's taking-
Totally, this is the internet.
I know, my dumb question. I know, 2 weeks. It's a long time, and I'm very sad about the fact that we're gonna be gone next week. But we will have this lovely CRISPR episode or crispy update.
Crispy update! It's a crispy update.
CRISPR update that will come out during that time. Yeah. But thank you guys so much. Best Dream Kangaroo Beats. Thank you so much.
Woo!
Oh my god, you guys are killing me. But thank you guys. We've had some really loyal viewers every week that hang out with us, and I can't even express how much I appreciate that. So
We
thank you
love
guys.
hanging out with you.
It's so
I
much
have
fun.
such a good time doing
Yep.
this.
Yeah.
We are friends for a reason, it seems.
I know, yeah.
Who would have thought?
So much dog hair on you.
Yeah, this is, if I ever go to anyone's house who has a pet, I always leave
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
Because of my immediate reaction is,
Exactly. Anyway, well, thank you guys so much. We will see you again live in 2 weeks, but look out for that CRISPR update and look out for our social media stuff. You will find all of our articles there, and we're going to be talking about physics. So let's learn about some physics. We're going to play some fun games, and
We're going to talk about
physics.
cool shit
Yeah.
like the universe and the underlying basis of all reality, and also video games.
I mean, like, nothing big. Like, don't even worry about it.
Yeah, that's like an NBD topic. No big deal. Yeah. All right, cool.
Good night,
Thank
y'all.
you guys so much.
Peace.
Good night.
Scott here, Scott.